Board meeting to order. The time is 6 o'clock. The date is May 28th, 2024. With that, I'm going to ask for, on the Pledge of Allegiance and Texas Pledge of Allegiance, if we could have our student advisors, this is the second year we've had it, but it's been a great way to get student input, and so they're going to lead us into the Pledge of Allegiance and the Texas Pledge. So Gustavo and Paris Castellon from Northwestern College, and Gustavo from the high school.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. Roll call.
Ms. Barnes?
Present.
Ms. Borrego? She did call in and mentioned she was stuck in traffic. She is on her way. Mrs. Mendoza?
Here.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Present.
Mr. Cimental?
Here.
Mrs. Strauss?
Present.
Ms. Zuniga?
Here.
Item 1E, CISD Vision and Mission Statements.
And with that, I'll ask Cindy if you could lead us into the vision, and Patsy if you could lead us into the mission statement.
Vision. Lead today, impact tomorrow. From CISD mission statement, we provide equitable opportunities to ensure our future-ready students are empowered to explore, learn, grow, and excel.
Thank you. I will take this to the next item.
Item number 2, Board Honors.
Mr. Chair, before we started our agenda, I would like to ask you to see if we could recognize our fallen soldiers. That yesterday we had the honor to remember all those fallen soldiers that they fought for this country. So I would like to ask a minute of silence for all those troops that they give their blood for this country, including my husband. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Now we'll take this back to Board Honors.
Item 2B, recognition of 2024 Canutillo Alumni Foundation for Education Cafe scholarship winners for the Canutillo High School and Northwest Early College. Presenter Ms. Cristina Rodriguez.
Good evening, Board President Rodriguez, Dr. Galaviz, and trustees. Can you please join us in front of the dais for tonight's presentation of Board Honors? Good evening, I'm Cristina Rodriguez, Communications Specialist, and I'll be filling in for Mr. Reveles this evening. We have a full docket of recognitions here tonight, all celebrating academic excellence of our students and our teachers. The collective achievements of the individuals being honored here tonight are why Canutillo is the best small school district in Texas and the only AAA rated district in the region. I hope we all brought our sunglasses tonight because the future of Canutillo is looking very bright. Without further ado, let's begin. First off tonight, we honor the 2024 recipients of the Canutillo Alumni Foundation for Education, fondly known as CAFE Scholarship. This year is particularly special as it marks the 20th anniversary of the foundation, a milestone that speaks volumes about the enduring commitment and generosity of our alumni. Over the past 2 decades, the CAFE Scholarship has been a beacon of hope and a catalyst for dreams, providing vital support for our graduating seniors from Canutillo High School and Northwest Early College High School. Today, we proudly recognize the culmination of these efforts as we award scholarships that will help our bright, young graduates embark on their college journeys. Since its inception, the CAFE has awarded over $260,000 in scholarships. This significant investment in our students' future reflects the deep-rooted belief in the power of education and the potential of our youth. It also underscores the unwavering dedication of our alumni who have tirelessly fundraised and contributed to ensure that the doors of opportunity remain open for the next generation. Dedicated alumni and CAFE members have contributed to the effort by providing additional scholarship opportunities for our grads, such as the Familia Bernal Scholarship for Volunteerism, provided by Canutillo High School alumna, Ms. Jessica Dominguez Bernal, and the Emerging Leader Scholarship, gifted by former Canutillo ISD trustee and Canutillo High alumnus, Tristan Hernandez. In closing, let us celebrate this 20th anniversary with a renewed sense of purpose and a shared vision for the future. As we honor our scholarship recipients today, let us commit ourselves to the cause of education, knowing that by investing in our youth, we are building a brighter, more promising future for all. Congratulations to the 2024 CAFE Scholarship recipients. We are incredibly proud of each and every one of you and are excited for your journey ahead. We have quite a few recipients this evening. I will call the recipients from Canutillo High School first, and please remain up at the front until everyone is called. If we're going to gather for a quick photo, and then you return to your seat. And at that point, I will call the recipients from Northwest Early College, and they will come up and do the same. Will the Canutillo High School recipients please start lining up over on this side, and when I call your name, come forth to receive your certificates. Again, from Canutillo High School, Ms. Carla Banuelos. Alex Castillo. Irving Ceniceros. Lily Shavira. Abril Correa Zúñiga. Isabela de la Rosa. Michelle DeMoss. Hayden Garcia. Jocelyn Hernandez. Jacob Hill.
All right, we go!
Morrigan Marin. Ernie Marquez. Abigail Mendez. Benani Ortiz. Ryan Romero. Samuel Saucedo. Madeline Smith. Brittany Varela. Annika Wagner. Recipients, please remain standing up here at the front for a photo.
We could probably put 2 layers if you want to, the taller ones in the back.
I think I go in the back. I'm like 6'4".
Sunset. Sunset. Can the parents of the Canutillo High School recipients please stand? Be Let's give Canutillo High School a moment to filter out, and then we'll continue on with Northwest. In preparation, can the Northwest Early College High School recipients begin lining up over to this side?
After how many years are you retiring? 35? Me aguantó a mí, América, Valdí.
So it's CISD and high school senior
If anybody wants to, there's room up in the front and between people if anybody wants to sit down.
Some seats have freed up. If anybody's looking for a front row seat, you got one. Giving our Ravens a few seconds to line up. Sorry. Long night.
Give her a break. Oh yeah, Josh was there now. Wash.
said she's
All right, ready. Griffins. Michael Arellano. Austin Cabañez. Remy de Jesús. Isabela Fugate. Jacob Garcia. Paris Gastelum. Diego Iglesias. Jacqueline Juarez. Juan Laguna. Arisbe Lopez. Kayla Luna. Esmeralda Martinez. Lea Novelo. José Portillo. Evo Reyes. Marissa Reina. Victoria Rodriguez. Sienna Shaw. Please stay up to the front, Griffin, for a photo. Thank you and congratulations to all of We also want to take a moment to recognize the proud parents out there. The proud parents still got much more to go. We got a long board honors this year. All right, moving on. Next, we celebrate the remarkable achievements of our class of 2024 valedictorians and salutatorians of Canutillo High School and Northwest Early College High School. These outstanding individuals have not only excelled academically, but have also demonstrated exceptional character, perseverance, and leadership. From Canutillo High School, our valedictorian Angel Rodriguez has shown an unwavering dedication to learning, consistently pushing the boundaries of excellence. His commitment to academic rigor, combined with his passion for knowledge, has set a high standard for his peers and has paved the way for future successes. Similarly, our salutatorian, April Reese, has exhibited remarkable tenacity and a keen intellect, embodying the spirit of Canutillo High School. through her hard work and determination. At Northwest Early College High School, our valedictorian, Paris Gastelum, has achieved an incredible feat by balancing the demands of high school with the rigor of college-level coursework. Her drive and ambition have led to extraordinary accomplishments, serving as an inspiration to all. Likewise, our salutatorian, Leia Novello, has demonstrated exceptional diligence and resilience, navigating the challenges of early college education with grace and fortitude. These scholars have not journeyed alone. Behind their successes are the unwavering support of their families, the dedicated guidance of their teachers, and the encouragement of their friends. It is a testament to the strength of our community that we celebrate such exceptional young leaders today. When I call your name, please come up to be recognized. From Canutillo High School, valedictorian Angel Rodriguez.
We're so proud of you. A lot of blessings.
Mr. Rodriguez, please stay up for a photo.
One person. We'll take one by yourself and then one with your parent.
One with him and then one with his parents.
Come in, you guys have up here.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
With his parents.
Mom, come on, Mom. Sister.
Come forward, Mom, for a photo. Thank you and congratulations. Next up, our Canutillo High School salutatorian, Miss April Ruiz.
Hola, April!
Sweetheart, congratulations. Where are you going to school? All right. Congratulations.
Please stay up front, Miss Ruiz, for a photo.
Sweetheart, right here. You're the center of attention. It's all about you.
1, 2, 3.
Your parents?
Can we have the parents, proud parents, family?
Her sister had her award ceremony.
She's not going to have to do much walking. She's already up there. From Northwest Early College High School, valedictorian, Miss Paris
Go Miners! Yeah!
Please join them in the front for a photo.
I'm busy going, yay, go Miners!
There you go.
I just those board members.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Proud parents, family, come on up and join us.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Let me see that. He's the next one, huh? He's doing it.
That was yes.
Sure.
Please help us welcome our salutatorian from Northwest Early College High School, Leia Novello.
Oh, I'm an Aggie too. All right. You're a master's. I like it. Good choices. Congratulations again. Good job. Just. All right, sweetheart.
1, 2, 3. Beautiful.
Will Miss Novello's parents, family members, please come join her?
Brothers, sisters.
Go.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. All right.
Yeah.
Congratulations. We're not quite done yet. Additionally, tonight we recognize and honor 16 outstanding educators who have reached a pinnacle of professional excellence by becoming National Board Certified Teachers. This certification is not just a testament to their dedication, but it is a reflection of their unwavering commitment to the highest standards of teaching. Achieving National Board Certification is no small feat. It demands rigorous self-reflection, a deep understanding of educational practices, and a relentless drive to improve. Our 16 honorees have shown exceptional dedication to their profession, their students, and the future of education. In classrooms across our district, these educators serve as beacons of inspiration and innovation. They do more than teach. They mold minds, foster curiosity, and ignite a passion of lifelong learning. Through their efforts, our students not only grasp academic concepts, but also learn the values of perseverance, critical thinking, and empathy. The National Board Certification process is known for its thoroughness and rigor. It requires teachers to demonstrate their ability to advance student achievement and improve their teaching practices based on evidence and reflection. Our honorees have met these high standards, showing exceptional skill and dedication. Their success is a collective victory for our entire school community. It elevates the quality of education within our district, sets a benchmark for excellence, and inspires other educators to strive for similar accomplishments. The ripple effect of their achievements will be felt for years to come as they continue to lead, mentor, and innovate with their classrooms and beyond. Congratulations to each and every one of you. When I call your name, please come up to be recognized. You'll be receiving a pin from Dr. Kearney and a certificate. And please remain up until you're finished taking a photo, and then you can be seated. Rudy Medina, Carotillo High School. Catherine McCorder Sutherland, Carotillo Middle School. Raina Salgado, Carotillo Middle School. Lilia Villanueva, Carotillo Middle School. Clifford Campbell, Northwest Early College High School. Dr. Alicia Muir, Northwest Early College High School. Berenice Sotelo, Northwest Early College High School. Catherine Tabor, Northwest Early College High School. Marina Rubio, Reyes Elementary. Camila Peña Ramos, Garcia Elementary School. Bill Childress Elementary School. Sarah Spencer, Deanna Davenport Elementary School. Cecilia Picardo, Zanutillo Middle School. Jamila Zay, Northwest Early College High School. Carly Drecker, Zanutillo Middle School. And last but certainly not least, Raul Villanueva, Bill Childress Elementary. Please remain at the front for a photo.
Come on in, guys.
Gather nice and close. Just to note momentarily, we do have our mother-daughter pair that have been certified together. Miss Peña. And mother and wife as well.
Ready? Can you get a little tighter over there? Let's go back. There you go. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you so much. Congratulations. Last but not least this evening, we recognize two remarkable individuals. This is the last one, I promise. Whose dedication and service left an indelible mark on our community. It is my great pleasure to recognize Paris Gastelum and Gustavo Ayala for their great contributions as student advisors to the Garfield ISD Board of Trustees. Paris and Gustavo demonstrated exceptional leadership, commitment, and passion in the role of student advisors, representing the voices of their peers at Garfield High School and Northwest Early College High School. They have provided invaluable insights and perspectives to the board, ensuring that the needs and inspirations of our students are heard and considered in every decision. Paris and Gustavo, your dedication and hard work have not gone unnoticed. You have both demonstrated that true leadership is about service, integrity, and a genuine commitment to making a difference. On behalf of the entire Canutillo ISD Board of Trustees and the entire Canutillo community, I extend our deepest gratitude to you both. And this concludes board honors.
Oh,
Do we still have parents in the audience? The Gastelums, one more time. Thank you. And now this concludes board honors.
Under the bridge and but I wanted oh, I remember you were like
Interesting. I mean, I would like to see, especially on the national board certified, I was talking about the training, that was a big initiative that got brought up in regards to how do we create. I know there was a conversation back in the day at Teach for America, and so we went the right way of bringing in more national board certified. So I'd like to see what that looks like versus other districts. But a lot of thank you to the cafe members. I know some of them are still here, but 40,000 for this year, that's a lot. And 40 recipients is a great way to have an impact in this community. And of course, we had so much recognition, so it was a good day for coming here.
Next item, item number 3, open forum. Any person wishing to address the board during the period reserved for public comment at a board meeting must sign up to be heard in accordance with district policy DED local. Each participant will be limited to 3 minutes to make comments to the board. The board is not permitted to discuss or act upon any issues that are not posted on the agenda for tonight's meeting. For further information on these policies, contact the superintendent's administrative assistant. The first participant is Mr. Sergio Martinez in regards to the bond manager.
Good afternoon, Board, Mr. President, Board Trustees, Mr. Superintendent. I come before you once again to voice my concern regarding the program manager. Several of us serving the 2024 County Facility Assessment Task Force are very disappointed on the negotiations of this contract. We can't believe that for shuffling paper, the taxpayers of this community are going to pay over $12 billion without any liability. In 1998, my old firm, Dimensions Architects, opened an office in Dallas, Texas, with the intent to work and market K-12 projects. Our new 1,400 square foot office in the Murray Building downtown consisted of 2 licensed architects, 1 project manager, and 3 interns. The benches had a solid portfolio. We have been designing facilities in the county of El Paso. We felt we had a strong team. We visited every school district in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, but we were told over and over that in order for us to be awarded a project, the Dimensions needed to have an established firm in the area for a minimum of 2 years. I remember that very clearly. Mr. Clyde Porter, FAIA, Director of Facilities for Dallas Community College, told me, Sergio, the college wants to make sure that all of our tax dollars are awarded to local firms and that you have an established firm in Dallas for 2 years. Then you will be one of us. We will pay taxes just like everybody else. Mr. Porter was right. That was a great concept. My 2 partners and I founded the office for 2 years, doing small projects, small restaurant remodels, small toilet remodels. On the 27th month, we were awarded 2 projects by Dallas ISD and Fort Worth ISD. That was great. We celebrated with wine, champagne, the whole thing. Unfortunately, this is not the case in our district. We are awarding a $12+ million contract just because we're afraid to manage these funds ourselves. I am proponent of motivating our own community. Canutillo ISD is failing our economy by awarding to proceed this contract to proceed. Thank you.
Next participant is Sarah Spencer regarding Teacher of the Year.
First of all, I want to thank the Board of Trustees for the kind, generous gifts you gave to all of us who were awarded Friday night with the campus and the district level. Those of you who know me, my day starts usually at 7 a.m. in my classroom, and I don't normally finish before 6:20 p.m. by the time I finish serving my homebound students. So the money that you generously gave me is going to partially fund a much-needed vacation this summer. I also want to thank you for your support for the National Board Certification. Mr. Rodriguez, I am the only person in Region 19 with a specialty that I have, which is exceptional needs specialist, not even the more specific area that I specialized in. I'm proud to represent Kenneth Elementary. I want to thank Dr. Galvez for his support of my classroom and for my career. I want to thank Dr. Kearney, who hired me sight unseen out of the country wearing a bathing suit for a phone interview. Of course, you know I'm a proud advocate for Deanna Davenport. I wouldn't be here without my Deanna Davenport family and my own family that has supported me. Some of you got to see my youngest jump up in excitement. My husband had so much belief in me that he videoed the announcement. He swears nobody took him off. Most of all, I want to thank the families of my students, Ambar, Aaliyah, Gia, both Ethans, RJ, Ava, and Mikayas. Without their family support and trust in me, I would not be here today. I'm going to try not to get myself in trouble. I am a special education teacher. I'm a special education teacher first. At the end of this week, I get a new badge because I am needed on another campus. It was not particularly by my choice, but I know the bigger picture is that I will be on elementary campus number 5, starting next week, actually. There is a nationwide shortage of SPED teachers. There's a nationwide shortage of SLPs. You all have a very difficult decision in terms of budgets coming up, continuing. I would just ask you to, you have had priority not to touch the SPED budget. Please continue to keep that a priority. Also consider things like cuts to our benefits. Makes it much harder to recruit SPED staff. We have not been fully staffed in terms of teachers and SLPs this entire school year. So, thank you very much for your support for our quality teachers. And again, I would ask you to continue to keep us in your thoughts as you make those final budget decisions.
Next participant is Sonia Friday in regards to SHAC and the agenda.
Good evening, Campio ISD and board members. My name is Sonia Friday. I'm actively serving as a non-compensated SHAC parent voting member. I come today with the support of other parents and community members to inform you all of how the SHAC committee, which is School Health Advisory Council, has been running business and how it's functioning. I come in request of the reevaluation and termination, I don't like to use that word, but termination of Dr. Nancy Torres, as she called herself, introduced herself to me, Ms. Torres. That's how we refer to her at the SHAC. Let me say I have been active in the SHAC for more than 3 years straight. I witnessed Ms. Torres direct this SHAC committee with lack of transparency and misinformative, causing discrepancies and efficiency how she runs this. Why do I say that? She composed a fraudulent sex ed committee with non-active and non-voting parents to allow inappropriate books in our libraries. Oversaw her participation, and with us being voting members, we were not given that chance. She read Heather Has Two Mommies in the elementary level without proper notification to parents or inform them. Ms. Torres schedules and participates in the El Paso region meetings without inviting parents whatsoever or proper notification or working with the campuses. We find the last minute and we take it upon ourselves, non-compensated, to inform each other. She got away with more than 2 consecutive years allowing Project Vida provide inappropriate and Texas illegal curriculum where LGBTQ terminology initiatives are taught to our students without a proper parent consent form. I've been updated as of recently that Project Vida will no longer provide that curriculum, but she got away with this. She does not provide information of why condoms and one workshop, condoms might be considered to be available to students, or any data of pregnancies to excuse that initiative. She ran SHAC solely with staff member support prior for more than 2 years. We're working on bringing more parents on the SHAC. Dr. Galaviz, Ms. Brianne Barnes, Dr. Reyes are present now and can serve as witnesses of my volunteer history and under my SHAC participation. Please, I hate to say this, but reevaluate, and it's time to start a new SHAC director. Thank you.
Next participant is Dr. Monica Reyes regarding SHAC 2024-2025 priorities. Excited about the new council driven by parents.
Good evening, Board President Rodriguez and board members and Dr. Galaviz. I'm very excited because on May 20th we had our last SHAC meeting for the year. I'm excited because we have a plan going forward this year, this next coming year. We have 2 chairs at this time. We've got 2 parents, Tony Moreno and Julie Scott, who will be co-chairing the SHAC. They will be running the meetings and they will be setting the agendas. We're excited because I wanted to list the priorities that we have set forth for the 24-2025 school year. So we're going to have 2 committees. We'll have Mental Health and Bullying Committee. We'll have the Health Education and the Wellness Committee. The Mental Health and Bullying Committee, we did do a gallery walk and vote. Our 3 priorities are going to be what is being done for our teachers for mental health. How can we help address mental health for our teachers? The second one is trends happening at the campus. What is happening as far as mental health is concerned with our crisis intervention teams? And the third one for bullying is to campaign for prevention and to educate parents on bullying definition, the law, and making sure that we promote the anonymous alerts, which is going to be something we'll talk about later on. As far as health education and wellness, we're going to increase our parent-family engagement platform where we want to do more invitations to parents and to the community, which includes serving through open forum. Conduct a parent survey on the needs and suggestions of health and wellness. What do they want to see our SHAC initiatives do to promote health and wellness in our schools? And then the last one is recess policy. So we've got some amazing SHAC priorities set up so that we are able to run with what the SHAC Council decided is important enough to address for the 24-25 school year. One of the major things is that we are looking at promoting SHAC, and our 2 co-chairs are very committed to ensuring that we do that. When we do have SHAC, please know that no one there at that time in the evenings from 6 to 7:30 is compensated. So everybody that's there is on a volunteer basis, and we're all trying to make sure that we can promote health and wellness and make sure we can promote mental health. So if you have any questions, you can certainly request any information from our 2 co-chairs. I have asked them to come and present and introduce themselves to you all, as they are the recommending body to the school board on behalf of SHAC. Thank you.
Thank you. That will take us to the next item.
Next item number 4, special presentation. 4A, budget update. Presenter, Ms. Christy Poole.
agenda as planned, if that's okay. Okay, thank you.
Good evening, President Rodriguez, board members, Dr. Galaviz. We're going to do a budget workshop. We're going to give you some updates as far as how we were progressing on our budget for the fiscal year 2025. Since our last presentation, there has been some changes. One, of course, is the approval of our bond propositions, both A and B were approved, and of course that will have a direct impact on our budget. In addition, this is the same presentation that we gave you, and I'm just going to go through the slides that we have updated for you. As far as the budget priorities, the cabinet budget priorities that we had, we did have a maintenance tax note payment that was due in August. Because of the approval of Proposition B, that payment is now going to move to the INS side. So that will free up $1.2 million in our M&O budget for this upcoming school year. In addition, there was a request for $6 million for roofing and HVAC. Maintenance requests, those will also be moved because of the successful bond, will be moved to be funded through bond funding. And then as well as we still have the transportation bus, that's been postponed for 1 year. As we plan for the funding shortage, we're not going to be proposing any raises for this biennium. We still may be looking at additional programming cuts as well as reductions in force or personnel. What we do have new information on is we do have our preliminary values for property taxes. Those were provided for us in late April, and our new values did increase. They are showing an increase of 3.8% from prior year. As we project our funding revenue for property taxes, we have still estimated our M&O rate to be decreased by about half a penny. And our projected revenues, though, however, do show, because of our increase from what we had estimated prior to our new preliminary values, we did see a $1.4 million increase in property taxes.
Chair, Ms. Boyd, can you please elaborate on 3.8%? What does that mean?
Are no values. So we do estimate our values to be increasing by 3.8% as far as the revenue that we're going to be generating.
So revenue from property, our tax base.
Our tax base, correct. Correct. So that did, once we entered this information into our funding formula, we did see an increase in property taxes of about 1.4, and it did generate about an extra $1 million into our budget for the upcoming school year. One of the items that we have also done is that we also incorporated the approvals that the board made as far as our program changes of moving to block scheduling. We right-sized our classrooms, as well as certain positions that were eliminated. And those have also generated savings. You can see on this slide for campus allocations that there was about a $1.6 million decrease after those program changes were incorporated into the personnel budgets.
Mr. Rodriguez, I have a quick question on enrollment. Quick question. So I'm looking at the enrollment at Snapshot and the preliminary enrollment guesses, because they're guesses, right? Historically, after that Labor Day holiday, does our enrollment increase? And if so, is it a big increase?
As we usually do see an increase. However, we use Snapshot for our estimates.
I get it, but right now, the preliminary enrollment for 2025 is actual enrollment.
No,
They-
for 2025 is an estimate.
Yeah, it's an estimate of what you, so my question to you is, normally we do staffing based on that. Then we see the whites of their eyes, right, and we adjust. But then normally, Labor Day, I wanna know historically here in Canutillo, does enrollment increase? So can this estimate go up, in other words?
Yes, and it does. So in other words, when on snapshot, it's actually our enrollment usually increases throughout the school year. However, a lot of our funding is built on snapshot date.
Yeah, but
And as
Labor
well
Day
as
is before
attendance.
snapshot. So that's my question is that if you're guessing 2025, I just wanna know historically in Canutillo after, cause this is an estimate of the first day of school, right? I'm assuming?
Right, we basically take our snapshot and we roll up our kids and we keep our kinder and early education kids
Yes.
constant.
So after Labor Day, historically, does our enrollment go up?
Yes.
It does. Okay, do you know how much?
No, I don't. I can get that information
Okay,
for you.
all right, just, I'm curious to see how big of a difference, or does it even make a difference? Okay.
Mr. Schiff, and I wanted to talk about the preliminary 2025, page before that. So I was making the numbers, Canutillo High School it will lose 21 students in 2025. Is that what it says? Canutillo Middle School, 13 students. Canutillo Elementary, 32 students. Diana Davenport, 27 students. And Damiana Elementary 3, Children's Elementary 41, Garcia Elementary 36, and Reyes Elementary 85 students. So in other words, I just make the adding, says 258 students that we're going to decline in 2025. Is that what it is?
No, Reyes is 36, and it's a total of 85 students.
So the total is 85 students that we're gonna lose and
We are projecting.
projected.
Right, by doing a
But
roll-up of our students.
But like what, Ms. Lucy says, that it might increase that amount, right? It might change.
Correct, and also, when we build our budget, we try to be as conservative as we can, but still using reasonable estimates. We hope to have, of course, increased enrollment, but we don't have anything to say that we are going to have that. But we do have data to support us and say, okay, these are our kids here today, we're gonna just roll them up, assuming we're gonna keep them all. And that's how we build our estimate. Of course, you know, we hope and we do anticipate that our enrollment will increase, but we don't budget on that.
Since we are projecting the 2025, why do you think we're losing students?
Our students are aging, so our classes that are coming in are smaller than our classes leaving the district. So in other words, our 12th grade class sizes are larger than the kids that are coming into the district.
So
Is that right? So we're losing.
thank you so much.
And so that brings us to the update as far as our bottom line. When we left our last board meeting, we were anticipating, I believe it was about a $4.1 million deficit. We have incorporated the changes that were estimated. In other words, the personnel that was put in were projected. Now we have actually put in those numbers into our personnel budgets. And the estimated deficit for the upcoming school year is estimated to be at $3.48 million. There is, of course, still work to do. This would only leave us with 22 days of fund balance. And of course, our recommended fund balance is still 90 days. There were a couple of items that were left to be decided on whether to incorporate those into the budget. One of them was this TASB student trip. Also to add additional, restore the athletics and the School of Music budgets, and the CNI software increase, and the marketing budget of $250,000. These items are still on the table, whether you would, as the board, to give us direction as to whether to incorporate these into the next year's budget.
I have a question. CMI software. That's really broad. What are we talking about, Ms. Kearney, on the CNI software?
I'll
On this
let
side.
her share, since it was her budget that was impacted last year with the cuts, I'll let her share exactly how that impacted.
Because one of the things we committed to that was we weren't gonna touch academics, and so, because we are in the business of educating kids. But I'm curious, what software?
So if you look back at the program evaluation, we did have a removal of some of our funding to cover the entire programs for the district. So that's money that we needed to put back.
Oh, so it wasn't anything in particular, something you wanted to put back. Okay, so I have a question. Have you, and I know we have to be really careful with supplanting and stuff, but have we exhausted and looked at Title IV, Title III, Title II to make sure we're maximizing the monies that we use there? And what about the early childhood allotment?
Yes, so we do use our 185 to supplement for our credit recovery program. Title IV is used for some of our ALS programs. Early childhood allotment
is used to cover the full day of pre-K and as well as reading and interventions. So a certain percentage of our K through third grade teachers, a certain percentage of their salaries gets coded to the early childhood allotment.
Okay, and the way we do reading academies, does that come out of the early childhood allotment, or?
Not directly.
And so for the upcoming school year, because they did increase the amount to the $3,000, we're looking at all our 185, our bilingual funding for those dual language teachers. Title I is a possibility, and then our local funds.
Okay, because if I'm not mistaken, a certain amount of the early childhood allotment, I get it that we're supplementing the pre-K, but it should be for instruction. So I just encourage you all to explore all of those funding sources, because the last thing we want to do is cut curriculum instruction.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, going back to two previous, well, I just wanted to know if we can make the questions now or by the end of the presentation, but I think right now I'm going to address this. On page 15 of this printed, it says estimated fiscal year. We have revenue over expenditures. We have a deficit of $6,321,342. We said,
You're addressing further in the presentation?
no, it's behind, two pages. Yes, this one.
Yeah.
Mike, and then you said that the 25th fiscal year, 3,480,501. We discussed that already. But I just wanted to know, how are we going to cover the deficit of 6,321,342 in regards of this year, fiscal year 2024?
That $6 million is already incorporated into our budget. It's been presented several times as far as how we got to $6 million, the different components that added. We started the year with a $3 million deficit, and we provided detailed explanations of how we got to the $6 million as far as a deficit.
So we're going to have to roll over the deficit from 2024 to 2025?
Right, so that deficit will be coming out of fund balance, and so that will reduce our fund balance going into fiscal year 25.
So that's the way that we're going to remedy the...
Correct, we're using savings to cover the deficit for this current school year.
The 6 million?
Correct.
Okay, thank you so much, appreciate it.
So our next steps will be to ask for direction on those items and any other guidance that you all would like to provide as far as the $3 million deficit, or sorry, it's about 3.8. 3.4 million dollar deficit, because our next workshop that will be available, either we'll have another workshop prior to the actual adoption, which is required at the next June board meeting.
So in addition to, excuse me, Mr. Chair, I'm going back to the 6 million. Do we have enough allotted money to cover this $6 million, 325, 342 in the fund balance?
Yes, we have,
Without leaving us in red numbers or in a critical situation.
right, so it will reduce our fund balance, and we do estimate it to reduce it to about 42 days.
So
We have the savings, however, it's going to eat up some of that savings and reduce our fund balance to 42 days.
to 42 days, but we need to have how many days? 90 days, right?
90 days is recommended, 60 is 5,000.
So we're gonna reduce to 40 days, but the recommendation is 90 days to be covered. Thank you.
Mr. Chair. My question is in regard to the marketing budget. So it's a big number. Do we have any specifications to what that 250,000 is going to look like?
No, ma'am.
No, so it's just kind of a ballpark.
Number, no. No.
So my question is, we're looking at $250,000, but we really don't know even what we're going to be looking at with that.
Right.
So we don't know if that's even enough to cover what we want to do.
Or is it too much?
Right.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I just want to know, what was it last year, Dr. Galaviz? Do you know? Is this less than it was last year?
No, it's
A lot less?
No,
I meant
this
it's
is a lot more.
I just
It's a lot more.
a lot more.
Oh, it's a lot more than last year. Oh.
So if I remember correctly, this particular thing was talked about when we were talking about marketing our district for incoming enrollment, to try to increase our enrollment, correct?
Oh, yeah.
So I think before we can really look at the number, we need to be looking at the programs. What are we looking at? Because we can't make a plan budget-wise without knowing what our stepping stones are. So we're just throwing this number out there with no ballpark figure in regard to if it's even gonna be enough or if it's gonna be well over what we need for what we wanna do. So, that would be my first piece of, I guess, feedback that I would give there. I don't even really think we should be looking at that number unless we have figures to go off of.
I agree with that, and I think maybe Dr. Galaviz having Gus and his team come up with a plan and send it to us in the Thursday packet, not necessarily this Thursday packet, but before we adopt the budget. I think that school districts across the state of Texas are adopting budgets with deficits in them because of the state that we're in. Ours is not bad. I mean, we've really worked hard at getting to where we are, but I think having a plan of action is important. I mean,
Agreed. I think another item is 28,000, but the teacher residency that we do at UTEP. Currently, we have 4 residents. 2 of them are getting paid 14,000, and the other 2 are coming to Canaldeo volunteering. I think that's where you get a lot of your SPED teachers, you get a lot of your bilingual teachers, which are a shortage here. So I think that's where you can recruit teachers from UTEP, but then you have to pay them that $14,000 stipend.
and I would like you to look into that. As you know, I'm a big proponent of the residency program and our partnership with UTEP. I mean, they're a pipeline for teachers. I don't think we should pay 2 and then 2. I mean, and the pay is nothing. It went down from last year. Every school district agreed to pay the exact same thing. I think we need to look and find those 28,000 to pay those residents because those are teachers that we train and we get in the classroom with tons of experience. It's proven, the data's there to show that it's a proven program to get us good teachers, and they normally stay in the district where they do their residency. So it's really cool. I get chills talking about it, but I think that in all fairness to them, we need to find the money to pay all 4. We pay all of them.
If I may, I still had a couple other questions about, that's okay. I really think all of these, we do have all the details about the CISD student trip that was provided to us, but even the athletics and School of Music restoration, what does that look like? I think that's really important, but we need to know the specifics of all of these before we're really looking at the number that it represents.
one of the things that's important, we even heard it in our first CBAC, not CBAC, our first task force in regards to the employees. There's a lot of good work that's being done in our district, and we're a lot of good work that our teachers are doing in the classroom, but yet we're not messaging or appropriately being able to message that to the right people, so that way we could either keep the students or recruit the students. So there's a bunch of different ways. I think there's a bunch of ideas, working either with the realtors, working with sort of welcome toolkits for new homeowners, and marketing plans where you're able to see what's going to happen if you bring your kid here and why, kind of deal. So I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done in that area. I think the focus was on other stuff, but I think now we should focus on that, so that way we can develop a solid plan on that. There is other opportunities in regards to the sale of land, but we also have to be strategic, because from my understanding, moving out of here, or we're not necessarily moving out, but we have a short-term fix because we weren't fully picked out, which allows us some time to figure out how we're going to develop a plan to either move to a new facility or to an existing facility, and what that may look like. So I think with the sale of that land, as well as, I don't know if we're going to have to put it in designated, but also that's going to help us put more days into our fund balance, which would for sure get us at the 60. What would it be to get us at the 60?
We should be at about 17 million. We should be at $17.6 million in fund balance, and we are estimated to be at this ending school year. We're estimated to be at 8.2, and next year at 4 million.
So we need 4 million, a gap between the 42 and the 60.
So if we end this year as we are estimating, we're going to end at $8 million, and we should be at about 17. So we're missing about $9 million. If we progress into next year, our actual unassigned fund balance goes down because there's less expenditure. So obviously 90 days will be a little bit less. Our optimum fund balance would be $60.4 million. However, we're going to be at about 4. We are estimating to be at $4 million, $12 million short.
And I would hope and I would expect that we're going to continue to hopefully bring that there. I would prefer 2 million, but we need to continue to work on that. And I know there's still stuff that's going to be presented, but we're still working. I know it's tough for staff. I was looking at election results right now, hoping that might be better day, but hopefully the legislature provides some relief. They do have, I don't know if it's $4 billion that was set aside, but I don't think it's going to be touched till the next biennium when the legislature meets, and so there's going to have to be a give and take when the legislature meets to provide, as we know, the inaction of the legislator and the inflationary costs, as well as the ESSER cliff, is what really put us in the current situation. For the past 7 years, we've balanced our budget, but because of those factors coming into play, what I would also like to look at is looking at 3-year forecasting when it comes to budget forecasting in the future. But is there any other questions?
Mr. Chair, if I may, I'm going to piggyback off of that. On Thursday, Far West Texas School Board, it was Thursday. There was a panel
districts in our area, and one of the items that was discussed was budget. And my understanding is the three districts that were there were not in a deficit. And one of the things that they said across the board is that they plan every year in either a 3 to 5 years projection. And so I really think, I know that that puts a lot more work on you guys in regard to preparing that information, but I think that's vital, especially in the situation that we're in. That was some of the notes that I took on that, because we need to make sure we're not just setting ourselves up for success or getting by right now, but that we are going to be able to sustain that. So I think three years would be a good place to start, since we're just doing the one right now. I agree.
Any other questions? Not, I'll take us to the next one.
I've just got a question, Mr. Chair. Looking at this projections that we have here, in order to get the deficit that we have, are we going to still cutting positions?
That's something that's on the table. We are looking at $3.4 million deficit. That's a board decision. This is, we've incorporated the direction that the board has given us, and this is where we are today. Whether additional cuts or additional programming cuts, whatever the board directs us to do is what we'll do, but we just wanted to present this information as we move forward, because next month, of course, we need to adopt our budget.
Thank you.
Really quickly, I want to say a great big thank you to all of you all. I know it hasn't been easy. It's tough. The work is hard and the decisions are tough, and everybody has to give a little. So thank you.
Next item, item 4B. Unlimited tax school building bond series 2024A, unlimited tax refund bill bonds series 2024B, line of finance. Presenter, Mr. Rudy Mejia.
Good evening, President Rodriguez, trustees, Dr. Galaviz, pleasure to be here tonight. For the record, my name is Rudy Mejia, financial advisor with Nickel Hayden. And tonight we're going to discuss the upcoming bond sale. I think we want to start off by first congratulating the district and the community for passing such a landmark bond election. We're excited. Yep. We are excited for the community and what this bond election is going to bring to your children. And so I want to make a public statement as the district's financial advisor for the past 10 plus years. We are going to do everything in our power to ensure that the district receives the best possible deal and that the money is utilized as we specified in the bond election. And so with me right here is Mr. Arnold Cantu with Cantu Hardin Montoya, and he is the bond counsel and will provide legal guidance on the bond sale. Okay, so we'll go through this presentation very quickly. It's nothing that you all haven't seen before, except this is for what we call new money in our industry. So if you wouldn't mind going to slide number 2, please. So what we did is we looked at what the proposition or what each proposition entailed, and then kind of identified the top priorities for the school district. And so currently our top priorities are going to be safety, design, and acquisition, right? Followed by number 2, which in my mind was always priority number 1 for me, was moving the maintenance tax notes over from the M&O budget to the INS side. So that frees up $1.2 million a year on your M&O budget that can be utilized to help offset that deficit that we just saw. And so Prop A will be the larger one, obviously. Prop B is just the maintenance tax notes. So for this first tranche,
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. Sorry. I was just going to ask you, Rudy, that please don't use acronym, because we have people from the community. Maybe they're not familiar with what is M&O, so maybe you could say maintenance and everything,
sure.
So the people that could understand. We do understand, but maybe they don't.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll do my best, I promise.
Thank you so much.
So I always tell my wife, I never say yes, I'm going to do my best.
Thank you.
Okay, so we are going to sell bonds in 2 tranches, with two series of bonds, the Series A and the Series B. The Series A is what we call new money. That's going to be from Proposition A. That's going to be going towards your safety, your design, and your acquisition of land for the construction of the new schools. Proposition B is going to be the refunding of the maintenance tax notes, and we're estimating that to be around $7.28 million. I also included what our estimated interest rates are going to be on both of those bond sales. So for Series A, it's going to be a longer duration of bonds. We're looking at a 30-year bond sale, just very similar to how you and I pay our mortgage. And we're looking at about a 4.5% interest rate on that. It is a conservative estimate. It is lower than what we initially planned in January and February when we called the bond election, but we are looking at about 4.5%. On the Series B, it's a shorter duration of 6 years. That's coming in right under 4% on the interest rate. So let's go to the next slide, please. Let's take a quick peek of what our current debt situation looks like on the interest and sinking side. Yes, Ms. Trout?
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, can we make questions along as we are presenting? You said that this one, the Proposition B is 4%, so Proposition A, what is the percentage?
We're estimating 4.5% on the Series A bonds.
So what does that mean for every $100, how much would it be converted to money?
About $4.50
For every $100, so, for every $100?
Yes, on the interest expense.
And the interest expense. So just make the math, each one, how much we pay, so it's gonna be $4 for every 100. Okay, thank you.
Next slide, please. So here's our current debt portfolio as it stands today. The district only has about 15 years of debt outstanding, and you'll see it's very choppy, right? It looks like kind of teeth. You know, we haven't passed a bond election in over a decade, and so over the past 10 years, we've been doing cash defeasances, we've been doing refundings. 2 years ago, we were selling debt at under 2%, right? And so we were taking advantage of the market environment that we were in, and so that's why it looks a little choppy at the moment. But when we issue these new bonds, we will level out the debt service and make it a more appealing looking debt service structure. But that was always by design. We needed to take advantage of the market as it stood. I really wasn't too worried about what it looked like on paper. But we only have about $63 million of debt outstanding at the moment. So we're going to add about $100 million, $107 million to this interest and sinking side here later next month. So next slide, please.
Rudy, we owe
Yes, ma'am.
$63,679,627 corresponds to which bonds or which years or
Those are all the previous bonds. I think the last bond election was in 2011. So all of those bonds have been sold. Some of them have been paid off. Some of them are refunded. Of the entire portfolio that we have currently outstanding, that's the balance of those bonds.
So that's what we owe in the previous month, $3,679,627.
That's correct.
Plus, we're gonna add this $100 million?
We're going to add this $100 million.
Okay, thank you.
Sure thing. So here is the team that the district has put together to execute this first bond sale. We have Nicole Hayden serving as the financial advisor, Ken Tuhart and Montoya serving as the legal counsel, and then we need underwriters to actually sell the bonds to investors. And for this transaction, there's going to be two kind of senior quarterbacks of the transaction. That's going to be Cabrera Capital and UMB. And then they have their own legal counsel that represents them in McCall Parkhurst and Bates and Associates. So that's kind of like the core team to take this transaction to market. So we are creating the initial public offering for this debt, right? So it's kind of like when a company goes public and they sell stock. Instead of selling stock, we're selling debt, we're selling bonds. And so the buyers of this bond are accepting a debt, or the district is accepting a debt from them. And every 6 months, the district will pay back principal and interest payments to these investors. And this is the team that's going to take this bond public. So So here's the quick timeline on the next slide. It's kind of hard to see on the screen, so I'll just kind of go over the highlights here. We're targeting that last week of June to sell the bonds and take the bond public. Probably going to be around June 26, June 27 timeframe, with a closing of July 16th. So on closing is when the district would receive the funds and could start expending money to satisfy the whole bond election. It's going to take several years for this money to be spent down. And so while the money is not being spent, it will be sitting in a checking account, or I'm sorry, in some type of savings vehicle to earn interest on the money as it's sitting there. And right now we're in a very unique position. In my 13 years of doing this, is the first year or two where we have a positive arbitrage situation where the money sitting in your savings account is earning more than what we sold it at. And so there is an opportunity here to earn a little interest on the debt.
So it's gonna be a special bank account only for this, like a bond, or how is this? Or-
That's right. So the money will be sitting in its own project fund, being managed and invested by a third party who will earn interest on that money. So today, let's just say we're selling bonds at 4.5%, and that's kind of our bogey. Today, if we can invest it and earn 5%, the district would make that 0.5% or 0.5 percentage more than what we're paying out.
But we have certain percentage that we cannot pass, right? No more than 5% or something like that?
Well, it depends on what we invest that money in. If it's in state, local government securities or tax exempt munis, the district will be able to keep all of it.
Okay, it depends, it might be.
Right, if we invest the money in like a tax pool or a, one of those pooled accounts, anything over what's called the arbitrage yield, we would need to send back to the IRS. But in this case, we're looking at investing in state, local government securities or tax exempt munis.
So you said here in this scheduled time, you said at 6/26/24 Wednesday, you have a bond pricing, right?
That's
so
right.
You're gonna let us know in advance time so the public they could know as well?
Today is that day.
Oh, thank you.
Sure thing.
Are these dates subject to change?
They are subject to change. We need to put this stuff on paper so that we can start generating documents and the lawyers can do what's necessary behind the scenes. And I do anticipate there to be a little bit of fluctuation one day or another. And then also we're doing what's called a negotiated bond sale, which allows us the flexibility to change if the market changes, right? I remember one day I priced a bond for Austin Independent School District, and that's the day that COVID hit and the Feds lowered interest rates to under 1% for the first time in history, and we had to kind of adjust to that. So, going negotiated, we have the flexibility to make changes if necessary.
These are just the parameters.
Just the parameters, yes. After the parameters approved today, then I believe we have 6 months, Arnold, to sell the bonds?
1 year.
Well, 1 year. So, worst case scenario, the market's not advantageous for us to sell the bonds, we could push it out a whole another year. But then that's a delay on your project as well.
So we have 1 year to sell the bond.
Well, by legal standards, yes.
But we are targeting six
Right.
months.
By selling the bonds, you mean the initial public offering, right?
That's right.
Going to the market,
That's right.
not necessarily all the other.
Yes, so we're gonna sell 100 million, there's still gonna be 286 outstanding, or left, authorized but unissued.
And so do those have to then be sold within that same year time frame, or how does that work? Start over?
Great question, Ms. Barnes. Yeah, we kind of start over, right? We're gonna take this first bond sale, clean up our debt service, schedule, and then as the district needs money, as the projects become more fluid, and we can say, okay, now that the design of this elementary school is complete, construction is gonna begin, that's gonna call for another series of bonds. So I would anticipate same time next year, we would have another discussion on the next tranche. And when we built the model out,
And that's why we're gonna set up for how much. For example, this time is 100 millions, could be, say, not exactly to 286 million.
right, it could be about another 100 million next year, another 100 million the third year, and then another 86 the following year. And that's just so that we can manage the tax rate. Right? We told the voters we were gonna look at a 2-penny increase. In order to achieve that, we kind of need property growth to increase a little bit more, and then we kind of need to structure the debt to accommodate that tax rate.
Okay, you just mentioned 2-penny increase, $2 or 2 penny?
2 pennies.
For every $100.
On the interest and sinking.
Interest and sinking. And this amount is gonna fluctuate?
It will fluctuate depending on what the tax assessed value is for that year.
It might.
The value of it, yes.
The value. Thank you.
Ms. Barnes?
My question is in regard to the 4.45% interest. So I'm assuming we would be locked in at that interest once they sell, is that correct?
So
kind of make that comparison in regard to our mortgage, like we're locked in for
Yes.
a mortgage once you sign. So when does that happen for us?
So it happens on June 26th, right? So we'll lock in that rate for 10 years. And then in 10 years, or maybe less, we'll refund that debt, hopefully for a lower interest rate. If we do not refund that debt, then we'll pay 4.45 for the life of the loan. We just have the option in 10 years to refund that debt.
Could be less than 4.5.
I'm hoping. I mean, right now, we're still coming down from that inflationary period that we experienced last year and the first part of this year. I do anticipate rates to be lower than where they're at today in 10 years.
Okay. I'm sorry. My next question has to do with, we had discussed when talking about these projects that we were going to work on projects simultaneously so that we could complete these as quickly as possible. Is that $100 million that we're looking at for this first series?
Sure.
Is that planning for that simultaneous start?
It is actually. I mean, it does. It's going to take us 3 years to design and build the schools, but that design process requires monies up front. And so, as your staff is working on, the elementary schools or the middle schools or their safety and security, they're going to be planning several things at once. This money is basically used to kickstart the entire bond program. And that's what your bond manager is going to be looking at, right? Like, how are these projects prioritized? Do they have enough money to meet the upcoming payments for your engineering, your architects, you name it? So they'll be monitoring exactly how much money is going in and coming out.
And I guess my next question has to do more so with administration. So are we looking at prioritizing deferred maintenance first, since that won't require the design of a new school and so on and so
It was
forth?
going to be my question as well. How is this?
It depends. That's when we get with the facility assessment committee, talking to our program manager at the end of the night, so we're going to develop a plan. There's one thing that Mr. Mejia was saying is, if the money stays, it generates interest. So $100 million, 6 months, how much interest is that?
If we're earning 5%, that's $5 million a year, so $2.5 million in 6 months. So it could be substantial. It could be very substantial.
Does that interest, can it only be used towards what the bond was supposed to be used towards, or can it be used for anything within our budget?
Unfortunately, it can only be used for the bond project.
Okay. So I just want to underline and be clear in this, Dr. Galvis, this is for administration. What is the priorities? Do we have our priorities in this bond? What did we promise to the public? What did we say? What is the promise? Why are we going to start it? Which point is to start it?
Yes, we do. But again, we haven't talked about that yet. We're just basically step 1, which is in June, we're going to sell the bonds and it's that $100 million, and then now it gives us time to develop a plan, get the project with our bond manager and our facility assessment committee.
So we don't have that analysis yet from the facilities or from the committee yet? So we're going to approve something that we don't know where we're going to use the money?
No, if you remember from the bond literature, made a promise to the voters,
Yes, we made a promise to the voters.
the projects.
So that's what I said, we're gonna start with the projects, with the renovations, with the HVAC, or purchasing lands.
I would recommend is the professionals get together and then provide that, in regards to, there's different stuff that could happen. I'm sure the middle schools are gonna take longer to design than the elementary school and or the early college, as well as some of the others.
Yes, sir.
Some of the stuff that could come about quick for sure is the lighting for our baseball team, as well as looking at which roofs can be done before school starts and or which HVACs can be done. So that's all if we approve the program manager as well as with staff, is they'll come up with a schedule again, pretty much a Gantt chart of what can we do, what can we, and then also working with our financial advisors, because we can't sell more than 100 million this year. I don't know if we could, that's a different story, but we can't. So all that has to be developed into a plan, and I would prefer the professionals give that feedback, and then give that feedback to the bond accountability committee and their sent for approval, and then it comes to the bond.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I have a follow-up for that. So I know you mentioned the HVAC and the roofs, and I really think, because like you said, a lot of that stuff may be able to be done over the summer before school starts. My follow-up question with that, you said we can't sell more than 100 million. Is that because that's the cap? Or
bonding capacity.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. That's one clarification on that.
The cap to what we told the voters.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
So I think today we're asking for approval on several items. Is it 3 items?
3 items.
It's Series A, the new money bonds. Series B is the maintenance tax notes. I think each one has its own separate action item. And then the third item is what's called a reimbursement resolution. So because we're not selling these bonds till the end of June, and the district will not receive any money until the middle of July, you may have some expenditures coming up that are bond related. So this reimbursement resolution allows the district to utilize bond funds to reimburse their general fund. So, yes.
I do have a question. In section 11, that you put the levy of taxes to provide for the payment of the bond. Levy on each $100 valuation taxable property shall be raised from year to year. I just wanted to put this in clear, and please help me to understand. This is the levy of the taxes. I just wanted to know how much the community, the people, the owners are gonna pay to pay this bond for every $100, and if it's locked or not that amount, or it's gonna suffer fluctuations.
Well, this is actually better a question for the financial advisor. The document there, the two orders levy a tax. Insofar as the tax, the ad valorem taxes are what secures the repayment of the bonds. So that's why an election is called for. The election gave the voters the choice to say, do you authorize us to issue 300-some million and to levy a tax and payment thereof? The promises or the representations that were made, Rudy, you can fill in on this.
Sure.
It was 2 cents.
Sure. No, it was a 2-penny tax increase on the interest and sinking side. So what we did was we looked at the average home value in Canaltillo, which I believe is about $250,000. So let's just use that math. So the way the math works is $250,000 is your assessed value for your home, right? I'll do it with you. You divide $250,000 by 100. That's going to give you your value that you need to multiply your tax rate by. So I'm getting 25,000. So you didn't multiply 25,000 by 0.02, because that's the 2-cent tax rate increase. I'm getting 50,000. and you take 50,000, that's your annual, 50, I'm sorry, 50. You get 50. So then you
$50.
$50 a year, and then you divide that by 12, and you get your $4.17. And I believe that's what we put on the website as well, for that the typical County ISD taxpayer would see a $4.17 increase on their taxes.
So will be $4.17 for every $100?
No, that's your average
Average,
home, yes.
in average home, this is gonna be for the whole value of the house.
We're looking at a $50 a year increase on your
For
on your
30 years,
typical,
for how many years?
for 30 years.
30 years, so $50 increase based on the house of $250,000.
Sure.
It's gonna be $50 per year for 30 years.
Right,
Around.
comes out to $1,500.
$1,500.
If the property values remain constant at their current levels.
Yes, now that 417 or that 0.2 cents, are those fluctuating, knowing the economy, how does it go? Is gonna be locked, is gonna be the same one, or is it going to suffer some changes?
So there could be some fluctuation, not over the 2 cents, but it could be less. And if you look back at the 2011 bond, we went out and told voters that we were gonna have a max INS tax rate of 41 cents or 42 cents, I believe. That tax rate stayed under 40 cents for the entirety. So we never had to raise the tax rate as much as we thought we were gonna have to do it because of what happened with the interest rates from 2012 all the way to 2022. So there's a possibility that if our assessed values continue to rise the way they have been, that we may not need that complete 42 cents, and we may have an opportunity to lower taxes in the future.
And now let's say that not the whole amount of money, the $380-something million, let's say that we already use it for the reasons that we have to. If there is any leftover money, where does it go?
Sure, it stays within the bond program, so it could be in support of, an elementary school that we build. Maybe there's $5 million left over. That could, we'd have to pass it through legal, but it has to be used for the intended purpose of the bond.
The intended purpose.
Right.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Appreciate that. Thank you, Rudy.
And on the taxes, we're talking about for the $50 a year. As more homes are built, is that gonna lower it?
It doesn't really work that way. I think the more homes that are being built, the property values are gonna continue to rise, right? So that's why on the ballot it says this is a tax increase, because we anticipate values to continue to increase, not necessarily decrease.
But it's never gonna go up over $50.
Well, if your home is worth $250,000 today,
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
and it goes up to $300,000, then that 2 penny is now $55.
I just have a quick question, because this sounds really familiar. So it hasn't changed from your original presentation, right?
It has not.
This is from the presentation we heard earlier. Okay, I just want to make sure that there wasn't a change in changing things.
No, in fact, it's only gotten a little better, because when we first ran our analysis, we were using 5% interest rates. Today I'm modeling 4.25 or 4.5. So it's gotten a little better, and we anticipate it to be around the same when we go to market.
And you're talking about the meeting where we actually voted on.
I just want to make sure.
I just want to make sure it hadn't changed. Because when I heard you talking, I'm like, this sounds familiar. So I just wanted to make sure, for transparency reasons.
Absolutely.
So because it got better when the money that we have in the savings will make more, and it'll help us from the.
And the thing is, this is all volatile. I mean, it fluctuates, it depends on the market. I mean, hopefully nothing happens from here till then, where we might have to wait a couple of weeks or maybe a couple of months, but if all goes as planned, it is what it is. But I think the thing is, when we voted as a board to go for the bond, it's been the same consistent since that day we were there. Any other questions?
So just to be clear for our community, the two things that could fluctuate are going to be the tax rate that we would be locked in, that we're looking at 4.45 right now. And then if and when, because most likely it's inevitable that their property taxes go up, that would, of course, affect how much they pay each year because of that 2 cent increase.
That's correct, yes.
So with this on the action items, I guess it could take us to the next item. Are we supposed to present them as resolutions, or can we get,
I think it always
no, sometimes there's a technical resolution in regards to the motion, or we could just make a motion to approve. Or we should go to the next item, right?
Sure, my preference would be to approve each separately, but there's no special language at the end of the item.
Or within the item?
Within the item, for items A and B, I would recommend language. I move to approve adopting the order authorizing the 2024 A bonds, or I approve to adopt the order authorizing the 2024 B bonds. For item C, I move to approve the reimbursement.
Steve says we should make a motion to approve instead of item.
A motion.
I'm just joking.
Steve knows better than me.
I'm joking. It's what is it?
You need to
technical
go-
language, or
you
what's
need to
the
go to-
technical, the spirit of the law versus the.
You do need to go to the item though, you need to go to.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Let's go to the next item.
I do have questions in the C items.
That's fine.
Well, let's go to item 5A, which is the consideration and appropriate action on an order authorizing the issuance of Canfield Independent School District's unlimited tax school bonding bond series 2024A, levying a direct annual ad valorem tax for the payment of the bonds, delegating the authority to certain members of the Board of Trustees and district staff to execute certain documents relating to the sale of the bonds and resolving other matters, incidents, and related to the issuance, sale, and delivery of the bonds. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
As I'd like to, how do you, motion?
Can I just say so moved?
No, I'd rather Mr. Cantu state and
Yes.
someone adopt the motion.
I make a motion to approve the order authorizing the Series 2024A bonds.
So moved. So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Can we pull the board?
Ms. Barnes?
Yes.
Ms. Moreno?
Yes.
Ms. Mendoza?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mr. Cimental?
Yes.
Mrs. Strub?
Abstain.
Ms. Zuniga?
Yes.
I'll take us to the next item. I'll do these so that way I can read it, and then you'll provide the language, and then it could be another item. So now action item 5B is the consideration and appropriate action on order authorizing the issuance of Canfield Independent School District unlimited tax refunding bond series 2024B, levying a direct annual ad valorem tax for the payment of the bonds, delegating the authority to certain members of the Board of Trustees and district staff to execute certain documents relating to the sale of the bonds, and resolving other matters, incidents, and related to the issuance, sale, and delivery of bonds.
Do you motion to approve the order authorizing the Series 2024B bonds?
Do I have a so moved or a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
That's both a motion and a second. Can you pull the board?
Ms. Barnes?
Yes.
Ms. Moreno?
Yes.
Ms. Mendoza?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mr. Cimental?
Yes.
Mrs. Strub?
Abstain.
Ms. Zuniga?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Now action item 5C, consideration and appropriate action on the resolution establishing the intention of the Canfield Independent School District to reimburse itself for the prior lawful expenditure of funds relating to acquiring, constructing, and equipping various district improvements from the proceeds of one or more series of tax-exempt obligations to be issued by the district for authorized purposes and authorizing other matters incident and related thereto.
I do have a question on this.
let me ask for a motion, go ahead.
Sure. Motion to approve the resolution, the reimbursement resolution.
Do I have a so moved?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second on this item. Go ahead, Ms. Brown.
Yes, can you please help me to understand the reimburse?
Reimburse, this document, the tax code, which has a lot of impact on the way we issue bonds because they're tax exempt. Because they're tax exempt, we get a better interest rate when we offer debt. Because they're tax exempt, we also have a lot of rules over how bond monies are used. They have to be used for a public purpose. They have to be used for the purposes that were authorized at the election. And those are a few of the things that make them tax exempt. For instance, they can't be used to do things outside of a bond. They can't be used to pay salaries or to make donations to businesses.
Not exactly for the bond purposes.
Right, and so one of those things that the IRS places rules on is how we reimburse funds that we have made that are relevant and pertinent to the bond issuance, the bond construction projects that were done before bond monies were in place. So for some exceptions, construction equipment, land, planning and design, or even bond election costs, right? Obviously, we're going to have bond election costs before the bonds come in. So there's some exceptions by statute, and most of those cover what a typical school district does. For those that don't, the IRS requires notice of intention, something solid, something in paper that says from this day to 90 days back, if you're using engineering, planning and design, construction costs that are relevant and pertinent to the construction projects for the bond, before the bond monies are coming in, that means you're paying out of your general fund.
Okay.
If you have this resolution signed, then you have basically the cover when the IRS, because at the end of the deal, we do forms. It's called the 8038G, and it's one form that'll be signed today. That goes to the IRS and says, this is how much we issued.
And then it's the reimbursement.
And this is how much we're reimbursing. And this is our document that says, and here are the receipts that we're paying back. So what payments you're making from the general fund now that are allowable, which we'll review if there are any, in a lot of cases there aren't, we'll review invoices, checks, and times, because this has a certain window for certain expenditures. There is a window.
Yes.
And if everything is on the up and up, according to our tax lawyers and our review, that can be paid from the general fund now, and then around July 16th, or when the bond deal closes, money will come in from the underwriters into your construction fund, and you'll have an itemized list of costs that were made beforehand that can be paid back to your general fund. The key thing is there needs to be an official document that says we were planning this all along, and this is what the reimbursement resolution is, and that it gives cover for us to the IRS to say that this was our intention all along. We didn't just pick and pull things after the fact. We knew what we were doing, and we're moving forward with this plan.
And I see that we are managing a lot with unlimited tax notes and unlimited tax. What is exactly comprehends unlimited tax?
Sure. Well, there's to the highest degree, a school district cannot levy a tax without an election, right? Your M&O used to be $1.50, and you had an election in 1959 that authorized $1.50 per 100. And over the course of compression, that goes down. The INS, the interest and sinking fund, which is used only to pay down debt, is what we call unlimited. Is it really unlimited? Not exactly, because there are other, constitutionally, if you have a debt that is voter approved, the tax will be levied to pay off that debt in a year. That's considered an unlimited tax debt, and that's what historically we've called them. Administratively, the Attorney General, which approves every bond before it goes,
Exactly.
will not approve any bond issuance if it can't be paid on an interest and sinking fund tax rate over 50 cents. So that's the kicker. But for purposes of the conventions of naming bonds, as Rudy mentioned, this is going out to the public, to the investors, and they're not mom and pops. These are sophisticated insurance firms and banking companies, and they want to know what the security is. What the security is for that loan that they're giving. Essentially, they're giving us a loan, and we're offering to pay it back at a certain level of interest at a certain amount of time. And if we don't pay, what's the security? The security is, now that it's been approved through the Attorney General, if something happens, we can raise the INS tax to where it needs to be to make sure that they get paid back, but no higher. So that's why they're called the limited tax bonds. It's an old convention.
It's an old convention. And we don't have, for example, to know how risky is this bond, for example, AAA or...
That has to do with your bond rating, right? So that also goes to the security of your bonds. Now, the district's current bond rating, I believe, is A83, which is one of the 4 highest rating categories. Another thing that Rudy Mejia has been spearheading is an early application to the Permanent School Fund Guarantee Program, which provides a second layer. You would call it a credit enhancement of school district bonds. In this case, the new money, the $100 million, which will be unlimited tax bonds, are guaranteed or will be guaranteed by the Permanent School Fund. That essentially says, okay, the Permanent School Fund, we've got $1 billion, hundreds of millions of dollars here sitting in this fund, and if for some reason the district defaults or can't make a payment, the PSF, the Permanent School Fund, is giving a certification that says if that happens, the Permanent School Fund will come in and pay. And that typically will kick up a district's rating on these bonds that are insured by the Permanent School Fund to a AAA. And that's the gold standard.
Thank you so much for your explanation. Thank you so much.
The real question is, are we still at capacity? On the PSF.
I do have a follow-up question. So you had my question just escaped my brain. You saw it. You didn't. I don't remember. I'm sorry.
Any other questions?
Ms. Barnes.
Yes.
Ms. Borrego.
Yes.
Ms. Mendoza.
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Mr. Cimental.
Yes.
Mrs. Straub.
Yes.
Ms. Zuniga.
Yes.
Motion passes.
That will take us to the next item, which is the consent agenda.
Item number 6.
I believe,
Here we go, Mr. President.
I believe, Ms. Barnes, you wanted to pull.
Me too. I have, correct me, something on this burn, this way, in this trouble. We want to talk about 6A4, 6A5, 6A6, 5B1, and C12.
For the record, I just wanted to pull 6A5 and 6A6.
And for the record, I just want 6A5 and C12.
Can you say them again?
Yes, it is 6A4, Ms. Barnes, 6A5, Ms. Borrego, Ms. Barnes, and Ms. Stroh, 6A6, Ms. Borrego, Ms. Barnes, and Ms. Stroh. You and I talked about that this morning.
Yes.
6B1, Ms. Barnes, and 6C1 and 2, Ms. Barnes and Ms. Stroh.
Okay, do you guys care if I start? Okay.
Let's, get a motion
We're
to
gonna make a
approve the
motion.
consent agenda.
So I made a motion to approve the agenda with the exception of the 6A5, 6A4, 6A4 also, and A5, C1. Well, the
I
ones
think
I got.
everything's pulled except item 6A123.
Exactly. I made a motion.
And C1.
And C1 too.
Yeah.
Well, both C1 and 2? Oh.
Yes. Okay, I made the motion.
Okay. There's a motion, is there a second?
I second.
There's a motion to approve 6A123. You call the board?
Ms. Barnes?
Yes.
Ms. Borrego?
Yes.
Ms. Mendoza?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mr. Cimental?
Yes.
Mrs. Strong?
Yes.
Ms. Zúñiga?
Yes.
Motion passes.
That will take us to item 6.4. Go ahead.
So item 6.4 was a proclamation of the 2024 adoption of instructional materials. And my question was, I saw that how the funds for the TIMA account were enough to cover elementary, secondary, high school, and early college materials. But there was approximately still $500,000 of materials for CTE that were not covered. So down at the bottom there was that little red box that stated ICED is going to cover most of that. So my question is, this coming year, are we going to have a gap in funding for those, and how are we going to be looking to cover that?
So that is correct. We still have one more year for CTE courses that are up for adoption. The ICEB is just a quote that covers the remaining, the $500,000 for that. However, we still have that 1 year, so we're going to revisit in a year, look at numbers, and continue with different publishers to see what will be the most cost effective. We do have programs in place for this coming year that's going to support the standards. We're still going to be in compliance, and the students will still have the latest web-based.
Perfect, so we are covered for the 2025 year, but we need to plan ahead for what's next.
Yes, ma'am.
That was my only question for that. Thank you.
I do have a question as well. Alex?
Yes.
Is this applies as well the memorandum? Yes? Okay, where this 149 goes, the memorandum of
No.
Alex Aguilar warehouse?
Right.
It's you. Okay, this one says the district with, if we need to pay the proclamation, it says not including the cost of the proclamation of adoption. I wanted to know what is the cost of this proclamation.
So right now, we have 1.2 million-ish in the budget.
Yes.
And the balance, after we pay the science, the social studies, which is $978,000.
In 353?
Yes, ma'am. We have roughly a balance of $287,000 in our funding for instructional materials. And so that is what we'll use when we revisit in 1 year to cover any costs.
But this one
for
that
the
says
CTE.
is not including the cost of the proclamation. That's what it says here. With $1,266,137.25 says not including the cost of the proclamation adoption. Does it have any cost? If that's the cost, what is the cost?
Can I add to that also, Ms. Trout, that question, because I think it'll help too. Are we using IMA money for this?
Yes.
Okay, or IMAT or whatever they call it now.
Yeah, because
Okay.
if we only have left 287,000, then what would be the cost of the proclamation? I didn't know the proclamations would have to be.
So it's 978,550.
For the proclamation,
Mhm.
978,000.
353.
353. And then, that's what it is? And then we still have the 287 on
Yes,
paper.
ma'am.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay, I understand.
Yes,
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Any other questions?
No.
If not, can I get a motion to approve?
I motion
I
to
second.
approve, 6A4, proclamation 2024, adoption of instructional materials.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second.
Ms. Barnes,
Yes.
Ms. Borrego,
C, yes.
Ms. Mendoza,
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Mr. Cemental,
Yes.
Mrs. Strauss,
Yes.
Ms. Zuniga.
Yes.
Motion passes.
That'll take us to the next item.
May I start? Are you okay? I had asked Dr. Galaviz.
Which item?
Yes, right now we're on 6A5.
6A5, okay, thank you.
Yeah, but before that, I'd like to make a statement, to the board and to Dr. Galaviz. I had asked to move this, item to Board of Trustees business, and let me tell you my reasoning behind that. I think any new RFQ should not be on consent agenda. If it's an RFQ for the bond, especially for transparency, so that the community hears and sees, I think it needs to always be under board, and I think I'd asked for that in the past. Board of Trustees business, not on consent. And it might be all legit, it just doesn't look good, and I think we work too hard for that as a board, to work together as a team, the 7 of us, or 8 of us, or how many there are, I can't count today, send to school. But, so I wanted to make that statement, that's very important. And then I'll start with my questions with, 6A5.
Can you read it, the
Yes, ma'am. Recommendation to approve the award of RFQ 2024-03 Bond Management Services to, and I'm not gonna be able to say this word. Presidio? Okay.
LLC.
So, and really they're from Ms. Pooley, maybe, and I might come over, are you from Presidio? Okay. So, I don't know who you are, and I was not, I apologize, at the, meeting on the 14th when it was approved, or I would have asked these questions ahead of time. But I think it's very important that we ask these questions and why it's on trustee business, and we discuss, so that our community members and our stakeholders hear. So I have a couple questions, Ms. Pooley. I didn't see any information in our packet because I looked, so then I did my own research. So that made me, never go to the internet or check, your bump on your arm because it makes it worse, right, a little bit. But I just have some questions, and for the sake of our community, I think it's important. Was there a rubric? I never saw the rubric, and I think we need to see it in the future. Was there a rubric?
Yes, there is.
There is? Okay. And you all are the experts, right? And I do want to state for the record, because I know somebody spoke at open forum, I do believe that we do need a company to help us run this bond, because it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. We just have to make sure that it's the right company and that we ask the right questions, because we're all voting. All of us are voting on that. So, and maybe you'll come in on this part, but let me ask her questions, because I want to know kind of the history. I just got this and I wasn't able to read it because I was listening to other things. The experience, what projects you've worked on, and then on the rubric, where did they least expensive? Where did they rank in money-wise, and why this company, and ultimately, why is this administration's recommendation?
So this was an RFQ in which price is not evaluated.
Okay.
It is based on qualifications.
Okay.
They
I knew
were,
that. Oh,
yes,
sorry,
they were
Stacey.
the highest ranking per the evaluating committee.
Okay, it was the highest ranking?
Correct, and the rubric is part of the RFQ. It says what they will be evaluated on, which criteria they will be presented and evaluated on.
And is this administration's recommendation, Dr. Galaviz? Administration?
Yes.
Okay, so now my question to you all, I should have not done research, because then I saw, and then I got all confused, that you're also affiliated with construction companies. Is that accurate, or do I have that wrong? And please correct me. And do you use them just to help you evaluate the projects as we're going along? Or do they get to bid as well?
So first of all, good evening everyone. Board President Rodriguez, Dr. Galaviz, and members of the board. My name is Madeline, sir. Program Director for Presidio. I'm a licensed architect in the state of Texas. I'd like to go over a presentation that we prepared for the Board of Trustees today, and then I'll take over all your questions.
Okay, perfect.
So we're prepared to go over some introduction as well as why choose Presidio, project management team, what we're gonna propose as an organizational chart, as well as explaining the services, the level of services that we're gonna be providing, going over the project tracking and monitoring, communication, and then we'll open the floor for questions. Who is Presidio? So Presidio is a company that is Texas-based. Even though we have many clients across the U.S., but our main office is in Texas. What makes us different from other competitors is all what we manage is K-12 business. So that's all what we do. We're so passionate about the kids, and that's our main business line in this industry. Our priority is to serve the end users, which is the students. We value the public, of course, and community opinions, and we strive to gain their trust. Our goal is to ensure the best use of taxpayers' money. I listened to a lot of the conversation, and a lot of good questions were asked tonight, and I'll be able to clarify some of those questions if you allow me some time to. What it takes to run a bond program. I'm sure many of you got this question, and perhaps some community members would ask the same question, saying, can this be managed internally? Can we save this money? Well, with Canotillo passing this important milestone, the district is in desperate need to move quick, to move fast, and to move right. Having a program manager on board will ensure continuity, proper documentation, team of experts that will be put in place, adherence to all policies and procedures, and many, many other items that will be managed behind the scene that you won't see, but you'll see always the results, the good results out of it. So these are some of the services that we provide under the cover of program management, owner representation, as well as other services. We will offer the district with constructability reviews, design and construction procurement, meaning hiring architects, hiring contractors to design and construct and build those schools. We'll be managing the schedule. We'll start with a baseline schedule to ensure that what the community was promised is in place, and we'll have some contingency and fluff in the timeline to ensure adherence to that timeline. Cost estimating and value engineering. Back to the comment that was provided by one of the board members. So those are technical terms, so feel free to ask me if they're far from your knowledge. So value engineering is when the project is over budget, that's when our experts will come to the scene, make sure that we provide you with recommendations on how to bring that project back to budget without jeopardizing quality or improving the learning environment for our kids and students. Again, one of the services that our company will provide is design oversight and construction oversight. Under the umbrella of owner representation, which is applicable to the bond program, is land acquisition, and it's one of the major items that Canotillo ISD would have to start with. Buying those lands, making sure that everything is set environmentally, legally, and it's ready to go is a major milestone that we should start with. Cost analysis would be provided, validating all these costs that come in from all the contractors and all the architects. That would be our expert. We'll provide the district with those analyses and recommendations if that's up to the market. Budget and schedule control, of course, we'll monitor the schedule, we'll monitor the budget, and we'll go over those in details in the following slides. Procurement, closeout is part of the service that will be provided to Canotillo ISD, as well as facility maintenance training. So when those buildings are ready to be occupied, a proper training to the maintenance people, to the maintenance department will be given in order for you to best use these facilities and these new programs and conditions and equipment. Other services that could be also provided is facility condition assessment, which is present in this bond program.
staff augmentation if needed, FF&E, which is furniture, fixture, and equipment, buying furniture, installing furniture, delivering, moving out furniture, so it all has its own process. Community outreach is a big thing for the town of CISD. We believe that the community and transparency is a must in this program. So that would be a service that was part of our base scope, and it's one of the major highlights and positions that we plan to hire. Technology coordination, custom communication, board reports as such, and presentations, CBAC presentations, and any other public presentation needed. Finally, supporting our trade partners and the hub, which is the historic underutilized business, local vendors in this town. So, and I will talk briefly about that on the next slide. So again, procedure will play a dynamic role coordinating with the rest of the stakeholders. And when I say stakeholders, that's the architects, the construction company, the city of El Paso, city of Canutillo, any authority having jurisdictions, and any other entities that we have to involve in this bond program. We understand the importance of involving local teams of experts and third-party vendors when it comes to architects, contractors, so the investment of the taxpayers remains in the El Paso market. So that is one of our major goals in this program. So this is a quick summary as to the services that will be provided. And overall bond management services, there will be some customized items to fit Canutillo's community and Canutillo's team members. And I'll go over this in the next slides. Procedure will act as a partner that you can trust. We have a full transparency. Any question you will have for us, that will be published. All the reports, any movement from month to month, that will be included in a monthly report, and we'll go over that as well. Our dedication to the K-12 business, as you can see on the screen, we have teams of experts that have over 300 years of combined K-12 experience. We saved districts over $40 million in the past 5 years, and our teams of experts managed over 950 bond projects in between schools, new construction, renovation, and additions. This is the proposed program management team. And again, when I say proposed, we did not learn about you in details. That's when we're going to start. Once we have a little bit more understanding about what your expectations would be, this may slightly change to fit the need and the expectation. But from what we learned about this bond program, a program director will be managing this bond. Under the program director, we'll have 3 departments: design, which will manage the architects, all the design, making sure that all the designs are up to the district standards. The construction department, and that's when we start construction, hiring the construction managers at risk, or the contractors to ensure meeting their qualifications and adhering to the construction document that the architects will progress. And what I call operation and controls, this is the brain of the program. These are the team members that will be supporting the rest of the teams. So under the umbrella of operation and controls, we envision to have a procurement specialist, a controls manager, and when I say controls, like I said again, those are technical terms. This means cost and schedule controls per individual, or individuals, depends on the need. We envision to have a position for a program coordinator, and that individual will assist getting all the updates on a monthly basis and providing the district with a monthly report for transparency and giving the board and the public all the status about the bond program. As I mentioned before, one of the major positions that we have in mind to be hired immediately is the outreach director. And again, because of the sensitivity and the importance of the transparency for the community and for the board. So this is just an overview of the proposed plan on how this team will be put together.
It's worth mentioning that procedure, even though we're not local here, but all these team members will be hired from the El Paso area. So every single one of them will be living here, will be coming from their home to the district office to work. Also, the benefit about having Presidio, you'll have an army behind the scene to support the team that is here, that will be on the ground. So moving on to the explanation of services, and I can be brief or I can explain as you allow me.
I would say be brief, and if we have questions, the thing is, going back to your question and response is, when we've done most of our governance, is the fact that we shouldn't be going into the details of this, and that's why we have staff. And if we want to question staff on those recommendations, we should, but I wouldn't want to see.
I didn't get information on it, so I am going to question from the vote.
No, and that's fine. What you're having, I mean, there was actually information at the last meeting, and we also offered that meeting to be virtual as well.
Yeah, but I didn't agree to that date. We're not going to get into that. I need information or
I agree.
To vote.
Do you want to spend another 15 minutes on?
You could be brief. I have some questions I'm gonna ask, and I'm good. I'll ask the questions if I need it. I've read through it.
Absolutely, I'll be very brief.
Well, how about we do this? Is there any questions? Do you have any more questions, or do you have questions? Anybody have questions? So we
I
can
do
get
have questions.
Go ahead, Ms.
I do have questions in regards to this. If this is going to administration, you said that you submitted to RFQ. How did you find out that we needed a person who managed the bond?
So we do this for a living. Presidio is a company that manages K-12 business, and we have our marketing team. Secondly, our team here, myself and Justin, we're El Paso based. So I've served in the El Paso area for over 10 years, assisted a lot of school districts in the area managing their bond programs. So this is a passion of ours. We would love to serve you and serve the student of TISD.
Thank you, ma'am. And to administration, you said you evaluate this through RFQ, right? Information that we never received. We don't have to get that RFQ information?
So what we did is we issued a request for qualification, which is posted on our eBay system.
But you guys only kept that information. You never shared with the board or certain board members only?
No, it goes out to the public. It's published.
But
So
you guys never send it to us. I never received it.
Not the specifications, no.
It is very important for us to take a decision. Now, the last time I think you guys came to a certain percentage, and I noticed that it's a variation of the percentage. So you are charging for this $12,126,560?
Yes, ma'am.
And what is the percentage of the bond?
3.2%.
3.2.
And how much was it agreed the last before meeting?
We're looking at.
2 something.
Nothing was agreed. The number was thrown out at 2.5. The going rate when we looked at the market support. So we negotiated 3.2.
3.2. So, the RFQ, you don't have information for?
Yes, it's public information.
No,
and it's
to us.
Yes, we can send you a copy of the RFQ.
But gotta be before that I issue my vote.
Right, so the RFQ, what happens on the RFQ is.
How many companies apply?
We had,
I think we went over this on the last board meeting, right?
Can I make the question? Can I make the question? Do I have the right legal?
You should have showed.
Thank you. Thank you so much. If I couldn't show up, I'm not gonna discuss my personal life here, sir. I just wanna ask you how many companies applied for this, and they are ranked under the same, for me to evaluate.
From my understanding, there was 7.
I believe there's 7. Just wanted to double check. Sure.
Was disqualified.
And all of them, they rank under the same price?
Correct. No, so there's prices, when we do qualifications, it's based on experience, different criteria. Price is not considered. You're evaluating the experience of the firm, their qualifications to do the project, whatever it is that you have
So the millions are different
We
amounts.
don't have prices for the other.
You don't have prices.
Right, so the last.
And there are a few that will say we're gonna charge this.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
That's why it's a qualification.
All right, thank you so much, appreciate that, Mr. Shen.
So when the RFQ was posted on our eBay, it goes electronically, and there was 372 invitations, so 372 vendors received the notice. It's an invitation to bid. We let them know there's a bid out here for bond management services. Whoever's interested would submit a response. We received seven responses. Only seven responses.
I mean, I just wanted to address this as a transparency, right? We're talking about millions and millions and millions, where the community, they need to know what decisions are we taking. We need to be transparent with this, since I don't see any backup and everything, so just burning out. Thank you so much, I appreciate that.
Could, may I
Sure, I was gonna go to this one.
Okay.
My main question had to do with references. I know you mentioned right now that you have worked locally with districts. What districts have you worked with here locally?
EPISD.
EPISD and
So if you don't mind going to,
I was trying to skim through to see if it was in there.
you can go to the slide, I didn't remember what
Was it to the last you said?
yes, I believe so.
Oh, okay. Is it this one?
Correct.
I think I just saw it.
Yes, correct.
You don't have page numbers, sorry, Adrian. Yeah, right here. So EPIC is the district here locally that you have worked with?
So all these districts that we provided in the presentation, these are Texas, state of Texas district that we are currently working with. Starting with Fort Worth ISD, Presidio completed the 2017 bond program. It's over $700 million. We've addressed a lot of high schools. Currently, Presidio is on contract with Fort Worth ISD to manage their 2021 bond program, which is $1.2 billion. And our staff is working actively on that one. So Fort Worth ISD is one of the major clients that we have. Also through Portland, Austin ISD, we stepped in Austin ISD where they were way behind in paying vendors. So we get them caught up. Over 350 POs that we proceeded, and we got them moving on paying vendors and getting things moving. Also, we have Fort Smith. I know they're trying to get to the slide. It's that one.
Yeah, sorry, the computer's a little slow. It's actually not
We have to bring copies of it.
Oh, we have it.
Yes, we have it.
We have it here.
And from the El Paso County, it's EPISD, their 2016 bond project.
2016.
Is that?
So my concern with the last meeting was all we really received was the name of the company, where they were from, and when they placed their bid. We did receive the scoring rubric. What I would, just for future reference, and I think maybe this might be what Ms. Borrego was referring to, not just the rubric, but how did you ask them to score, like what was a 1, what was a 2, what was a 3, whatever the case, I'm sorry, like what were the specifics of those so that they could come up with their score? At least that's the type of rubric we would use in our classroom. You give them, this is the score, but this is the criteria for that score. So where's the criteria for that? Because to me, these numbers don't show me what criteria they're meeting. And that's no fault of your own. My next question, and I asked this at the last meeting, was in regard to references, so thank you for including at least this slide in regards to other districts that you've worked with. But even seeing that you've worked with these other districts, I don't know what the track record is, and that's why I really would have liked to see what those references said from these past districts so that we can see that we're going into a contract that's going to be worthwhile.
Do you mind if I, who's on the committee?
So on the committee, actually, that's information we like to keep, I guess, confidential. And only because we don't wanna expose that information. If we need that information, then we would need to ask for an open records request.
No.
I have already
No.
submitted that, Lucy. I've already asked that.
Well, but we don't need an open records request now. I understand if you don't wanna say here publicly in the meeting, but you could send it to me in the Thursday packet to the board, as a matter of fact.
All of us.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, to everybody on the Thursday packet. You can want to, but if you're on that committee, you're on that committee. I mean, I'm on tons of committees and my board knows I'm on those committees, so that's important, I think. See, and I'm gonna ask this for, all the RFQs, because there's a lot of problems throughout the state of Texas, and our community, entrusted us with a lot of money. And it doesn't mean, like I said, I don't know you from Adam, but I'm gonna ask that of everybody, and I think it's important because it's a lot of money, number one. Number two, so I would like that on the record to, for Thursday, Dr. Galavis, if I could get who was on the committee, that rated. And then one of the things that I did speak to, Dr. Galavis about, and I think he's gonna talk to you if he hasn't already, Ms. Pooley, is that whenever we put out for an RFQ, that we're all notified on the board, for us too, because the minute that an RFQ goes out, and am I correct, Steve, we're in like that cone of whatever, but if I don't know there's an RFQ, how do I know I can't talk to Presidio? How do I know I can't go eat with somebody? So I think it's very important for all of us to know when an RFQ goes out, and that it goes out in our Thursday packet, please. And then my last question, for you will be, and somebody threw out the number 12 million, I don't know what it is, but you've given a cost or whatever, I don't know how that person knew, because I don't know, right? But whatever the cost you gave us, is there a chance that the cost could go up?
No, the chance of this cost to go up is very minimal.
Okay.
We will assure you that all the services that you need will be covered with it.
So if you tell me this cup is $9.99, pretty much it's gonna stay $9.99 for the most part. Okay, I just wanna make sure on that. And then, you did say that you're gonna have all these team of people, you'll be updating the board monthly at every board meeting?
That would be up to the administration, whatever you want, anytime you wanna see, we'll be here.
Okay, and then my last question is, are we thinking of having them at the CBAC?
Yes.
Part of it? Okay, perfect. All right. Those are all my questions, but I just want to make sure we have them.
I do have a question. And those $12 million and certain $1,000 more, it is included in the bond, or is more than? It's included in the bond. Your, the 12 millions, and yes, exactly. It's included in the bond, right? It's not gonna be plus on top of it. Okay, I just wanna be sure. Thank you.
I only have one. Good evening. I realize how important a program like yours is because we've tried it in the past without one, and it didn't get us very far. My question is, when we were trying to inform the community regarding what kind of things we wanted to do with the bond money, why we wanted the bond money, what buildings, what exactly we were gonna do. And on the website for our school district, we had a pretty good program that you could go in there and look and see, well, Canutillo Middle School is getting this, and Canutillo High School is getting this. Will your company do something in that regard if a parent wanted to say a year from now, look and see where we are with that new elementary school, wherever we buy the land or whatever, will your company keep us apprised or our community apprised of this changes and the expenditures, and to be as transparent as possible?
So the answer is absolutely. I would love to take 2 minutes out of your time just to walk you over some of the things that we will support kind of your ISD with. If you don't mind going to, and I'll be brief. We're just so passionate about what we do, and really we would love to show you some of our products and what you can get out of this. It's a lot of money, but really over the years and the services that will be provided, it will be way pay off. With other clients, we actually provided them with how much cost saving that procedure did to offset our fee, and it was tremendous. It was really a tremendous amount of saving that we put and we brought back to the district that paid not just for our fee, but for many more. One of the things that we've learned today about your bond sale and interest. So all those you'll be incurring an interest. You'll have a lot of money coming to the district. We'll provide you with all the recommendations to your facilities, how you can support it, how you can support the need of the students and counties, ISD's community. So just really brief, I would like to go to slide number 14. And let's go just to the planning, where I stopped actually. Planning. Backwards. I'm sorry. So the very first thing we do, and that's our marching order, what we call planning. And planning is providing the district with what we call program management plan. We'll set up all these budget items. So one of the things that, again, back to transparency, this is an example from a school district that we're doing land acquisition with. And as you can see, this report provided monthly to the school district. We provide them with this land will be supporting, in this case, this school target. How much is the land appraisal came through? What's the size of the land? How much the offer letter sent to the owner? All the details that will be posted and provided at any moment of time you ask for it. If we can proceed with the next zone. So also one of the services that will be provided to the administration is what we call our monthly report. Our monthly report will show all the schedule. We'll start with a baseline schedule. We have an example of how that would look like, and we learned a lot from the district website about the projects you'll be managing, what schools you'll be reconstructing, in what areas. So we have all this information that was public. If you don't mind going to one of those documents. So this is a processes and procedures that will provide the district with. Also, forms and templates, everything will look the same among all the projects.
Can you emphasize the according to trustee website?
We will provide a bond website, and that would be updated constantly, at least monthly, to show the progress of the bond, where we stand on design, construction, and also in the monthly report, if you don't mind going to...
Is that website, it's your website, but is it will it be linked to our website? Okay, perfect.
We will create a specific website for Canatio ISD. So it will not be procedures website, it will be tailored to your bond, to your projects, and to fit your needs. So this is an example of our website, and next slide. So this is an example, I was asked about how we can update the community of the progress of the project. This is just an overall schedule as an example, and as you can see, it's so easy to read, it's color coded. So the blue bar is when we procure the architect, meaning when we have the architect on board. The red is when we are in design phase, how long it's going to take us to design a specific project. Purple is when we procure the contractor, and the yellow is when we have a contractor on board. The green bar represents the construction phase. And then, of course, that last bar would be the closeout. And again, those are technical terms. We'll be happy to educate you and educate anyone that would love to know about our business. But those are how we're going to be monitoring the progress of the program. All these will be posted and available to the public to see. I'd like also to just go over one more thing. Can we go to the next example? So this is one of the best tools that we've learned and used over decades. So this is how we're going to track the financials. And when I say we're going to track not just the dollars, but down to the pennies, every expenditure you will have on this program will be tracked as such to all the details. So yes, you have on the fund website that there is an allocation of $107 million for X schools, but that 107 would have a lot of smaller line items to make sure that within that number will provide you with a budget to support the furniture, the technology, lighting upgrades, any third-party vendors, if we have to do material testing. Like I said, a lot of technical support that goes behind the scene to have a construction project done. So I hope I answered your question.
Yes, ma'am, you did.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead. And I think going back, I mean, we've had bad history in the past, and my main goal is, I mean, we're going to hold you accountable. I think the district is wanting to move fast and to move efficiently, transparently, and as well as being able to provide the best quality design that our students deserve. So in regards to that, my biggest thing, and I'm looking at the extras team, and I don't know if it's on the operations and controls or if it's a controls manager of the procurement. I just want to make sure we have people that are knowledgeable with the procurement, preferably auditing, because I think that auditing experience and making sure that's provided is something critical for the community, especially in this time.
That's a great question. So joining me today, and I'm glad you asked this question, is Justin Hill. He's our procurement expert. Like I said, he is an El Paso-based individual. Learned a lot about your policies and procedures, and will keep us and you out of trouble. So I'll let Justin speak.
Before you leave, because you didn't answer one of my questions.
Yes.
Was I wrong in the, are you partnered with a construction company?
We are not partnered. We're a sister to Core Construction. This is the mother company to Presidio, but we're two separate companies. Our line of business at Presidio is bond program management. They have a different line of business.
So when you say you're gonna go out to local companies, you're not gonna favor one company over another one? Okay.
That would be a conflict of interest.
Well, that's what I saw. Well, when I read that, and I was making up, you know, when you look on WebMD and you have one bump and now you have 400 illnesses, right? So I just wanted to make sure and put that on the record. Okay,
Absolutely.
thank you.
All these disclaimers will be taken into consideration.
Thank you.
I'll let Justin speak briefly and answer Mr. Rodriguez's question about procurement.
Good evening, everybody. So in short, everything that we do is going to be open, transparent, and any questions that need to be asked or answered will be asked and answered efficiently. On the control side, we'll have folks who will be monitoring all of the payoffs that come through. That's the auditing piece that you're probably looking for, to make sure that what's being submitted for payables is actually something that's been acquired, provided before the payments are sent through.
And I think that's at the micro level. I'm looking more at the macro as well to make sure. I mean, it's going to happen. I just want to make sure it's assured that, you know, there's been a lot of miscommunication in this community, and I think it's important to, we're going to be fully transparent. We're gonna, I mean, I don't know what proper word, but we're gonna bulldoze ahead to make sure we get this, what our community deserves as soon as possible.
And we're happy to be here, excited to be here, and we will do everything we can to make sure that this is a completely open and transparent process for you.
And I think that's very important, you know, I wrote these words down, because I think it's important. We've been promising this. Everything that we have promised, we have to deliver on, because that was the problem that got us in trouble 10 years ago. We need to be prudent with the money, we need to be transparent to the community, and we have to show good faith. And so, all these questions are in good faith. They are, because we owe the community that, and I think it's important that we do that. Poor guy, at least you guys took, because the next one I think we're going to ask him those questions as well, at least I am. But again, Dr. Galaviz, if you can please, RFQs don't go on consent, they go on board business, so we can be transparent.
That's something we could discuss as a board. It's not Dr. Gallery's, it's a board meeting where we discuss agenda.
Okay.
We could have that conversation, but that's
Okay.
different.
I didn't know where it came. I just want to make sure that that's something that I would like. And then also, Ms. Pulley, once an RFQ goes out, that we're all notified immediately to help all of us.
Yes,
Please.
Mr. Chair, if I may. So one of the questions that was asked during the open forum was about liability, and I know we were just talking about that accountability piece. So this particular report that is up here, I know that's going to be available to us. Is this part of the reports that will be reported to the community as well, where they can follow dollar by dollar?
So in some school districts, some of our clients would require for us to post this on their website monthly, and if that's the board choice, we'll be happy to do so.
Okay, and so my, I guess, backup question to that is, and I know Mr. Chair said that we are gonna hold you guys accountable, but how do we do that? What does that look like? What accountability measure do we have to actually hold you accountable once we're in contract with you?
So there is what we call KPIs, which is, can we go back to, I'm sorry. I tried my best, I predicted all these questions, and that's why I had all the supporting documents to actually show you actions, not just promise you and give you words.
Okay.
So if you don't mind going back to the first one, which is program management plan. So the very first step we would do after we get the notice to proceed from Canutillo ISD is developing what we call a program management plan, which means setting up those standards. How you can set our performance, how you can go and check how is the accountability is measured in this program. Are we doing good for the Canutillo community? Are we doing good for the Canutillo administration, for Canutillo students? So there will be set of qualifications that we will agree into and will be performing against, and that will be up to the district and the board to review and ensure. There is always room for improvement, and we take this very seriously. And all your suggestions and recommendations will be put in place and put together for an improvement plan if needed.
Perfect. And then my second question goes along with what Ms. Borrego was asking about choosing of those construction companies and vendors. So whose responsibility is that going to be? Administration or the
They give us a
CBAC?
recommendation.
Is the CBAC committee going to have any part in that? How does that process work?
CBAC will receive the bond, but he will manage the bond.
Okay. And that's how it, all vendors, sorry, so all vendors and construction companies will be chosen by administration?
From the board. Or by the board, yeah, they come to the board, we recommend.
You recommend to us. Will it go through another RFQ, that same process? Okay. So, like Ms. Borrego said, next time we have RFQs, we're gonna get more detailed information than what we got this time. Okay. My next question has to do with the percentage in general. So it was quoted during the meetings that we were looking at 2.5 is what we were quoting. Now we're looking at a 3.2. Dr. Galaviz, I know that you said that the going rate is currently 4. Was that not the going rate when we were having our meetings?
I think that rate that Dr. Reed was coming was quoting past bonds. So that's EPISD bond in 2016. I correct on that. And then when we did the research and negotiating, 4% was coming up. So he said, no, you can't do it for 4, and then negotiated a 3.2. The high was 4.
That's correct. And
It's a market, I mean.
It is a market.
So I think this is an important lesson, because this is what has happened in the past. And that's why we need a person that understands and is a professional, because we've got a number of 2.5. The high end I've heard is what, I mean, there's even 5-6%. What's the high end? I mean, just give us an explanation of why would we select a program manager and what's that? I mean, not the process, but what the market rate is going.
Absolutely. So services, like any other services, can be, you can choose to have a full service for X amount of dollars or X%, or shorten that service. So that is correct. Some of the school districts in the city hired program managers at the rate of 2.5. That was 10 years ago. That was before COVID. We all know the escalation. We all know what happened post-COVID. So multiple factors played a big role on that 2.5%. One of them, again, like I said, 10 years ago, pre-COVID, escalation in cost, and again, the magnitude of the services. These school districts, when they chose to go with 2.5, it was not included a lot of services that CISD needed, which is, again, managing bond website. So they had their own teams doing this. That's a lot of staff and a lot of money that would be, I mean, from what we heard today, the marketing alone, the budget was $250 per year. So we're talking about 5 years, $2 million. So there's a lot of factors that can play a big role in that fee, but I can assure you that 3.2 is really very, very good. So to answer your question, Mr. Rodriguez, some school district is 4 to 5% for a full management services. But again, if the rate goes low, then again, the scope of work shrink with it per se. Here, we feel like CISD deserve the best, and that's why we went as low as we could possibly be without jeopardizing the quality of this service. We want to have a team for you here, your local team, so that's really the intention of this service and this percent. Yes, it may sound or seem huge, but at the end of the day, the service that we're going to get out of this money is tremendous.
And I mean, I don't want to go too much on the history, but we had 5 facility directors over a time span. And when you look at the facility director that provided the cost analysis for the previous bond, that they actually, well, it's not a wraparound services. So what ended up happening, some people on staff said, well, that's too big of a bond. They lowered the amount of the bond, but they didn't lower the pocket list. And so, a lot of stuff, yeah, there's just a lot of stuff, and that's why we need to make sure, looking forward to see the work. I've seen the resume, but more important, not only are we going to hold you accountable, we're gonna run fast on this program because time is of an essence, in our community, and our kids deserve these schools as soon as possible.
Yes, sir. We totally understand and support you.
With that said, I move to approve the award of RFQ 2024-03 Bond Management Services to Presidio LLC.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Can we go one?
Ms. Barnes,
Yes.
Ms. Borrego,
Yes.
Ms. Mendoza,
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Mr. Cimental,
Yes.
Mrs. Straub,
No.
Ms. Sonina.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I would like to say a few words before I leave. Presidio is committed to CISD to support transparency, best use of the taxpayers' money locally, and support the need of the end users, our students for generations to come. Thank you all for your trust.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That will take us to the next item. Who wants to go first on this?
I will, mine will be brief.
Okay.
What is it? Oh. Well, you got lucky because,
Did I?
we got most of it, answered. My purpose of pulling this is just, I wanted information, I also don't. Now that I think I've seen you one time in the back, real estate, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted some information and want to make sure that we're transparent and that we show. But the most important thing I want to know is, Ms. Pooley, Dr. Galaviz, is this administration's recommendation? Dr. Galaviz?
Yes.
I heard from me.
Yeah.
That was easy, I told you.
Okay.
Oh, but
Other
no,
questions?
but there's other people that have
Okay,
questions.
sure.
Oh, but I just wanted to ask Shad, are you gonna be the same agent or are we gonna have another agent?
No, and I apologize, he was not able to come, he had a little family emergency, but I don't know, I mean, you all saw this, I would assume, at some point. This was our response to the RFQ.
No.
Okay. Well, I'm happy to send it to Dr. G and he can
Give it to us and maybe
forward
give
it to
us
you.
a
But
packet.
just to kind of give you background, obviously Seabury, Fortune 500 company, our office is 13 people strong, 10 brokers, dedicated CSC personnel, and a dedicated researcher. We fold up here, covering all of El Paso, southern New Mexico. We do work in Ciudad Juarez and cover Chihuahua City. And then our office reports to Austin. That oversees basically the western part of Texas. My team supporting the district will be myself and another gentleman named Andre Rocha, and then the handful of other people on our team for putting together any type of marketing materials and so forth and so on. But you will, if I can't be here, Andre's gonna join the team and help me supporting the district.
Okay. I just wanted to, we could have that as well.
So my question kind of piggybacks on that. So I had asked or requested information about our past, I guess, issues, things that we had because I know we used to use you and we stepped away. So I had asked for information about what those past issues were and what we're doing to resolve them, so that we don't go down whatever that path was, because we were not filled in. So that was really the information that I requested for this agenda item. I'm not sure what we can discuss openly and what we can't. Everything's fine? So, I don't know who wants to answer that, or if it's Mr.
Ask the questions.
What were our past issues?
I was not aware of any past issues until Dr. G and Dr. Rico had mentioned just, I guess, open lines of communication. I'm happy to provide as much or as little information as you guys want. And whether that's to a single point of contact who then provides that to you all directly, kind of, me to somebody within the administration to then disseminate that to the board. In my experience in previous work with Socorro Independent School District, that was kind of how we did that in the past as it relates to their latest bond. So we're doing the same thing for you all as we did with Socorro. They passed a bond 7 or 8 years ago and said, hey, we've got to go find 5 or 6 school sites. And so they had their facilities management person who acted as kind of the single point of contact for the administration to then provide all the information to the board. But I am happy to tailor that to Mr. Armendariz and Dr. G, however you guys want that information. So you guys just need to kind of probably get together and tell me how you want it.
But it seems to me like it might have been a lack of expectation or communicating that expectation. Sure. So Dr. G, how are we going to address that going forward?
I would suggest that, again, just be up front with CBRE with Mr. Chad. Expectations that we talked about in my office was, it seems like CBRE is so big, but you're the only one. And I think we had that with another company, Hub, we only dealt with one individual.
Sure.
But it's a multi-big company.
Sure.
Some of the things that the board felt that you were kind of, they felt rushed, some of the decisions that had to be made. Is that felt?
Yes.
It felt,
Yes.
talked down to sometimes.
The thing is, if I may, sometimes we have a new board members, and maybe the experienced ones we could catch immediately, but we need you to be a little bit more, with more clarification, to be more patient, to explain everything better. So because sometimes, I mean, there's no stupid question. We could always, overall, when there's the money, you know, when there's the community properties and everything, we need to know about that.
Yes, ma'am.
And we need patience, and we need, I don't know, we need to have the trust to make you those questions. And all that I'm asking you is patience.
Sure.
And be more explanatory than this.
You're not the only person to tell me that. That'd be my wife as well.
Okay, thank you, Shad.
Well, she's right, as wives normally are.
Of course.
Thank you,
No,
Shad.
again, I'm open to, you just kind of tell me how you guys want me to present the information, and we will pull it all together and help you guys make the best decision possible.
Thank you so much.
And then my last question has to do with the commission percentages. Are these the same commission percentages that we were looking at the last time, or when we were with you before?
Yes, so just to be upfront, I've worked for Candido since, gosh, maybe like going on like 10 years now.
Yeah.
From probably with Mrs. Trout and Mr. Rodriguez, going back from some acquisitions and dispositions. But the last handful of sales, the fee has been, is a market fee.
Okay.
Okay. Those are very standard for commercials.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you guys.
With that being said, Mr. Chair, I would like to approve the recommendation, the award request for qualification 2024 for real estate broker Seabridge to serve the county school.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Can you pull the board?
Ms. Barnes,
Yes.
Ms. Borrego,
Yes.
Ms. Mendoza,
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Mr. Cimental,
Yes.
Mrs. Stroud,
Yes.
Ms. Zuniga.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Just in regards to, I would recommend since, I think this is a great process. We've already discussed it previously with LSG. I think, there was a misconception. Are you okay? If there is an item, anybody could pull the item and we have that conversation, but when we're gonna have to approve.
Yeah, let me clarify. So I understand that it's administration's recommendation. I want information. I was under the impression that we needed 3 of us to pull an item off consent, and we don't. So I am fine with that. If I have a question, I will pull it. So I'm good with that. I understand, and I'm gonna mainly ask, because this is administration's recommendation.
Okay. Okay, that will take us to the next item.
Thank you. Wait a minute, which item are we now?
I think it's policy. Wait.
The policies?
No, I'm
Oh, wait, you still have one. That's C1.
Okay, so one, B1.
No, B1.
Curriculum and instruction, executive summary, approval of the optional flexible school day
Okay.
program for the Opportunity Academy presenter Monica Reyes.
Who have questions?
So mine was not so, it was a question, but more so in regard to on the contract, it states that Board of Trustees of the school district must discuss the progress of the program before approving the program. So when I read that, I wasn't sure why it was on consent agenda if it needs to be discussed,
Oh, we are discussing it.
but only because I pulled it.
It doesn't say it has to be.
It says right
a consent agenda or?
It doesn't, it just says board approval. Board of Trustees of a school district must discuss the progress of the program before approving the program.
Can we, do we need a?
I can cap it pretty quick, and then if you have questions for
Right.
my summary, you're okay with that?
Yeah, I just go back to LSG and the question is focusing on student outcomes. If we need to address that, then I would recommend we address it into MOU and cross that out.
Yeah, if we don't need to discuss it, I think it needs to be changed.
Yeah, it's not an MOU, this is the actual TEA application. And so the application has requirements and criteria that we have to
So we
meet.
have to discuss.
So that's the criteria.
That's the way it reads to me. Legal, yes, okay, so in the future, anytime we're covering this particular program, we should not have it on consent, it should be.
Is that, okay.
Is that what it is?
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
So that is actually brought by TA, and that's the wording, so TA is requiring us to. So I guess, is there any questions in regards to the program?
All that I wanted to know, if we could have some updates in the Thursday packet, just to know about the program, you know, so we don't.
Quarterly, what works best, a quarterly update? Or,
Well, actually, in order for us to submit the application, we're required to provide you with a summary of how the program is progressing, how you all want to monitor in any way, so that we can get the approval from the board, and then we can submit the application for the 24-25 school year.
But this is gonna be only once. My question is, if it is gonna be recurrent, we're gonna we have?
I can do quarterly,
Yes,
if you would like me
will be
to,
great.
in the Thursday packet, so that
Yes,
you can get a number of students that are enrolled, a number
Yes.
of credits that are being earned,
as quarterly work or semesterly?
probably semester would be
Yeah,
better.
Semester
I would
even
recommend
better?
semester.
We can do that, we can submit what we have, I think you all have it in front of you, it's the PowerPoint.
Correct.
And so just to update you, from the PowerPoint of the area of focus, our number of courses processed as of today, some squeaked by, we have 183 courses that have been processed, have been earned by our students. We have 2 IGCs, we have 17 graduates for Thursday.
17? Okay.
17, and then we have 2 that we're estimating to do okay for summer.
Do we have special ed students in this?
There are, but, I couldn't tell you right now. As far as I know, we address those as they come in, and we either have a 504 or an ARD for those. But for every student, we do a student study team meeting, an SST, so that we develop their graduation, their individualized graduation plan.
And all of them are in the time to graduate, all of them are going to graduate, or is someone left behind?
Oh, no, there's many. We have, currently enrolled, we have 42 students. So of those 42 students, we have 17 graduating, and then 2 potentially during the summer.
And what is gonna be the remedy for the rest of them?
They will, either go back to the high school, depending on where they are, where they fall, if they're on time, if they're back with their cohort, or they can, again, ask to stay at TOA, but it is
What
the
is
high
TOA?
school, the Opportunity Academy,
Okay.
which is our dropout recovery.
Okay.
And I will tell you that many of these 17 that are graduating this year in 2 days, a lot of them have gone to Garantio High School and were planning on dropping out that day. And then TOA picked them up, and they are now graduating, so.
So then we
there's
need to
testimony.
work on the ones that are left behind?
Oh, yes,
Because
absolutely.
we don't wanna,
Well, we have students that come to us with 5 credits, 2 credits, 8 credits, 12 credits. So it just depends on their individualized pace. We do have some that also work, some that have families, and so it just depends on the situation. So we're flexible enough to work with them so that they continue to progress.
thank you.
So my question, on the very first page, it's actually before the PowerPoint, it looks like, it says estimated students participating, 70.
Yes.
Is that, so I'm assuming those are not all seniors?
Correct, they're not
Okay.
all seniors.
So of those 70, 42 of them were seniors. Is that what I'm grasping?
No.
Okay,
So,
go ahead.
it's 42 students enrolled. We have some kids that are from cohort 20, cohort 19.
Okay.
It just depends. Some of them are age 24. So wherever they fall under their graduation plan, that's how they progress.
Okay. Perfect. All right, that makes sense. Thank you. That was my only question.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve?
With that, I move to approve.
I second.
There's a motion and a second, can you pull the board?
Ms. Barnes,
Yes.
Ms. Borrego,
Yes.
Ms. Mendoza,
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Mr. Cimental,
Yes.
Mrs. Strub,
Yes.
Ms. Zuniga.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Next item.
Item 6C1, TASB Localized Policy Update 122. Presenter Ms. Martha Carrasco.
Board, I gave you questions that Ms. Barnes had. It's specific to the policies, please recommend.
I have a question real quickly. Is there, cause these are a lot of policies and I have some questions on them as well. Do they have to be approved tonight or can we pull them and then you do research and send us the responses? Cause we're gonna be here 5 hours if we go through all of this. I think we need the information. I would suggest that we pull them. That's my suggestion. And then we get the information and then we bring it again to the June board meeting.
And we do have.
1 and 2,
And we
right?
don't have time to submit more questions because I have more questions too.
Yes.
I think, no, I think.
Maybe a workshop.
Or a workshop, I'm good with
Maybe a
that.
workshop.
I just think that this one to go through every one of those,
Yes.
and then we're gonna have questions on them. Yeah, I'm in agreement.
There is, the problem is that, TASB has been waiting for the policy update, right, since September. Or you wanna give a brief update? And what we can do is approve, the things and we could always go back and have a workshop on it and then go ahead and discuss it. But I would go ahead and because of the policy update.
Well, you've got two sets of policies here. You've got the one where Mr. Eric Narcisse from CASB came to visit to do a review of our policies, and he came back in September 20th and 21st. So he was here in our district. He did an overhaul of our policies. As a matter of fact, on the 21st, he had scheduled a meeting with the board to go over the policies and go over some of the discussion that he had had with administration. However, at that point in time, he was directed to what you call the policy diet, and to do exactly what the Lone Star governance was recommending. So I don't believe that you all went over any of the policies that evening. He took his direction based on what was discussed. I believe he sent me the packet in January, so we've been trying to get it scheduled, and I know that it's been this long to get it on the board agenda today. Absolutely, I mean, I think we've waited this long. We can go through June. On this one, the one for the other one was the update 122. And so on that one, I did talk to TASB because I didn't want them to think that we were ignoring them. I mean, this is update information. These are 10 policies, local policies that are included in the update 122. And these policies are tied to some legal ramifications that were passed during the 88th regular legislative session. So when I talked to TASB about this, that they were being postponed, then, they said, well, our policies then are behind in the sense that, there's some legalities already in place that aren't reflected in our policies.
Question about that, so you got all this in January, how come we didn't get it sent to us so that we could read?
Email.
No, but we didn't get all the policies.
No, we got the policy update, we got that in January.
Yes, you
February.
did, I sent all of that through.
122 though?
Yes, information, yes. And I can go ahead and, I guess if you want me to send it again, I can do that.
The concern with administration and the discussion we were having was, there was too much, focus on, there were so many meetings just on, presenting the facts on the bond and stuff like that. So we were waiting for after that to see. And so my recommendation would be to go over this list of questions to approve the recommendation. And if you want, we could come back. I still recommend, we should have a policy workshop every month. That the goal is to develop, to go with the administration's recommendation. So what I would recommend is to approve those to accept these questions, and then we could separate them.
But I would have a question, Mr. Chair. For example, I wanted to know, Martha, who made these changes? Because some of the things that we had before the interest change, for example, the trustees shall be given notice of regular special board meeting 72 hours. When the agenda is going to be posted, we said 7 days, and then I call Adrian, and Adrian says, no, 3 days. So it is a discrepancy there, and there's so many other things that is being changed here.
I believe legally it is the 72 hours. So
I remember that we discussed before, didn't we, that be posted 7 days?
And the constraints overpass the thing, that it doesn't have to be in policy on that. It's a constraint that we approve as a board.
Legally, it's 72 hours. However, as a board, I think you all had requested that there be additional time to review the items.
Yeah.
But I think what you have here is the legal requirement, and of course, in following that recommendation to do the policy diet, the recommendation was to put a lot of the specific things in a regulation. So absolutely, I think that we're gonna have to do an overhaul of regulations and create some, because some of the detailed items have been removed from these policies. And so now we've gotta go back and look and start creating regulations. And that's where all the detail and the step-by-step and procedures are gonna be outlined in regulation.
Yeah, we're not limiting it. You have your legal and then you have your local. What we're trying to do is, we're still gonna have policies and procedures in place at the local level, but that's administrative, and that's what we were talking about, one-star governance. In other words, those policies, so that way they don't have to come direct to the board. We're actually focusing more on the student outcomes versus having to focus on, because this is my, and I'll say it in a polite way, like school districts, school boards shouldn't be micromanaging it. They can sure as heck create policy that micromanages. And that's what we've done over the years. And so the goal is to not micromanage and to hold the superintendent accountable, because that's the person we have. And
That is the one.
so that's why
So
I don't mind having a
clarification.
workshop, but I would recommend approval of those. I think we could go over your questions.
Could we go over just the questions for the 122 that we would be approving tonight, and then the rest would be covered in the workshop before we approve those?
I would recommend approval of both.
All of them.
Yes.
If we approve them both tonight though, and then we have a workshop and we make changes, we can still do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just a clarification in one of them, when it says minutes, the official minutes of the board shall be retained on file of the office of the superintendent and shall be available for examination during regular office hours. It's gonna be by examination by a trustee or by a members of the public. That's what I want.
It's online, so.
This one, they changed something in the minutes. I do understand, but do we need to put by a trustee or any member of the public, or by everyone, or?
Is that
Because it doesn't say nothing in minutes.
Which policy are you with?
Is, policy Bravo Echo Local. And the bottom it says minutes.
And that was on the TASB policies. So I think maybe we need to look at 122. And that one, basically.
But all that I wanted to know, this is gonna be for us to see it in the office, only for the trustees, or any people from the community that could come and see it and request it. The minutes is very important.
They're online, aren't they?
No. It says here that we need to go to the office and they're gonna stay there. My question is any member of the community have the freedom to come and ask for the minutes of certain meeting? Is always, it's gonna be only for us to see, or as well as including the community?
It's public.
It's public record, it's open to the public. So this one, it doesn't say, maybe we could add to
I
any.
mean, so policy, there's a legal policy that requires it by
That
law,
says that?
and then you have the local policy that you could extend it to say, you know what, you're gonna have to put it on Facebook and Instagram. You could,
Okay.
but legally, it's requiring us to post it, but if we wanna micromanage and go
No,
above
no, no,
and
it's not
beyond.
micromanaging.
That's what I'm just putting an example, that's why I would recommend that we approve both, items 1 and 2. We'll have a policy workshop to go in more detail, and to continue with the constraints. Now, if I could get a motion to do that,
I can
and
make a
I'll set
motion.
it.
I make a motion.
So the motion is to approve the policy updates of item 1, TASB localized policy update 122, and number 2, TASB manual policy updates, and to continue with the constraints as approved by LSG.
Correct.
Okay.
And just to clarify, so when we have that workshop, if we need to make changes, we can make changes at that point.
We've had this since February. Do your homework and be ready for any.
I second, Ms. Trout's,
Motion.
motion.
Okay, can I approve one?
Do you have to do them separate?
No, the motions together.
Ms. Barnes,
Yes.
Ms. Borrego,
Yes.
Ms. Mendoza,
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Mr. Cimental,
Yes.
Mrs. Stroud,
Yes?
Ms. Zuniga.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Item 7, executive session. To consult with attorney under sections 551.071, 551.072, and 551.074.
Well, Adrian was talking to me about it, and he said that Blanca and I are the ones taking the charge of it.
Oh, we're gonna have a basketball?
Here. Oh, you're taking it too? I can't, cause I have. Adrian, 8:30 here Thursday? I can't.
Yes.
Okay, well then, if they're going, I'll still go.
Okay.
Yeah. Are you gonna see me again? Or could I say I can just take my own car and really want to drive? Right. Whatever. I don't, cause I'm getting the work. Oh yeah, you gotta go after.
Let's go.
Time is 10:33 p.m. Item number 8, new business. 8A, discussion and possible action regarding the recommendation of administration to approve one-time stipends payment to C. Barraza and C. Delgado to account for omission from prior payment and approval list for teacher incentive allotment.
Thank you, Board President Rodriguez, Dr. Galvis, and members of the board. Administration gave you an update on the issue regarding the failure to include these two individuals in the TIA, teacher incentive allotment payments. In order to rectify the situation, the board would need to approve the payment of stipend to them, and announce that we discussed in closed session. Those stipend payments will be made to C. Barraza and C. Delgado to account for the omission of prior payments that would have otherwise been paid under the teacher incentive allotment. We need a motion to approve and authorize those payments.
Have a motion?
I move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Pull the board.
Ms. Barnes,
Yes.
Ms. Borrego,
Yes.
Ms. Mendoza,
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Mr. Cimental,
Yes.
Mrs. Stroud,
Yes?
Ms. Zuniga.
Yes.
Motion passes. Item 8B, discussion and possible action regarding possible resolution/settlement in the matter of E. Alcantara versus Canopillo ISD, class number 2023 DCB 1828, pending before the 120th Judicial District Court of El Paso County, Texas.
Thank you. I gave you an update on the status of the Alcantara versus CISD lawsuit. Based on the recommendation of the insurer for the district, It is the recommendation of myself and administration to approve the settlement and the terms we discussed in closed session, and the settlement is being funded by the insurance company.
I move.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second, can you pull the board?
Ms. Barnes,
Yes.
Ms. Borrego,
Yes.
Ms. Mendoza,
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Mr. Cimental,
Yes.
Mrs. Strauss,
Yes.
Ms. Zuniga.
Yes.
Motion passes. Item 8C, discussion and possible action regarding potential sale of district-owned real property located at 7965 Arcraft, El Paso, Texas, to Texas Department of Transportation, and to approve other matters incident and related bureau.
Thank you. I gave you an update on the status of the negotiations between the district and TxDOT in connection with TxDOT's effort to acquire a portion of this building that we're in now, so from a portion of the building. We've gone back and forth with TxDOT over offers and counteroffers, and we've reached a final position and offer from TxDOT. Based on TxDOT having issued the district a final offer for the purchase of only a portion of the central office and allowing the district to retain the remainder of the building and the land, it's a recommendation of the administration to authorize and approve the sale of a portion of this building to the Texas Department of Transportation on the terms discussed in closed session, and to authorize the superintendent and board officers to execute any necessary sales documents related to that transaction.
I move to approve. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Can you pull the board?
I'm sorry, who's second?
Cindy.
Ms. Strauss? I'm sorry, Ms. Barnes.
Yes.
Ms. Borrego?
Yes.
Ms. Mendoza?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mr. Cimental?
Yes.
Mrs. Strauss?
Yes.
Ms. Zuniga?
Yes.
Motion passes. Item 8D, discussion and possible action regarding the potential acquisition of real property for district facilities and or school sites.
There's no action required on this item.
Item number 9, meeting adjournment. Time is 10:37 p.m.
Graduation 37.
What time, do we have parking passes?
Thank you, Steve.
No.
Do you have a parking pass?
It wasn't your mailbox?